Chapter 1. The Unfortunate Beginning of a Mixed Spiritual Root. Zhang Haoyang possesses a low-grade, wood attribute spiritual root, with a comprehension of 18 and talent of 14. Li Ming has a mid-grade fire attribute spiritual root, with a comprehension of 16 and talent of 18. Tao Yuhang boasts a tri-attribute spiritual root of gold, wood, and earth, with a comprehension of 23 and talent of 12. As he watched the students ascend the stage one after another, Su Chao found himself engulfed in confusion. Where is this place? Before Su Chao could fully process his surroundings, a tremendous surge of memories flooded into his mind. Countless unfamiliar and intricate pieces of information surged like a tidal wave, the overwhelming sensation causing a sharp pain that compelled him to clutch his head and emit a muffled groan. It turned out that he had entered a world where everyone practiced cultivation, and upon reaching the age of 18, every ordinary person underwent tests to determine their spiritual root and comprehension level. The spiritual root dictated one's affinity with the celestial energies of the world and the path of cultivation one would follow. Comprehension, on the other hand, pertained to the speed and depth of understanding of cultivation techniques. Both were indispensable. As the memories became clearer, Su Chao's heart was a tumult of emotions. In his previous life, he had been an ordinary worker, toiling away in a vibrant yet superficial world. To his astonishment, he had now crossed over into this realm of cultivation. In my past life, I lacked the opportunity and merely drifted through existence, yet fate has granted me a second chance. I shall strive fervently for the elusive path of immortality. Su Chao's gaze ignited with fervor, and a fierce determination blossomed within him. Even if the road ahead was shrouded in fog, fraught with peril, he would not waver. At that moment, the director in charge of the testing called out, "Next, Su Chao." Drawing a deep breath, Su Chao slowly approached the stage. Despite the tempest of nerves raging within him, he maintained a facade of composure. Reaching the testing instrument, he placed his hands gently upon the softly glowing device, as instructed by his memories. In an instant, the instrument erupted with brilliant light, the once tranquil blue glow now pulsating vigorously. Soon after, streams of colorful light burst forth from the center of the device, intertwining to create a magnificent and surreal spectacle. This feels like the prelude to flight. I must indeed possess the talent for cultivation. As he beheld the vibrant display, Su Chao's heart soared with elation. However, the director's subsequent proclamation shattered his reverie. "Su Chao, you possess a mixed spiritual root, with a comprehension of 2 and talent of 3. The director's voice resonated coldly in the expansive testing area, like a bucket of icy water extinguishing the flickering flame of hope that had just ignited within Su Chao. He stood frozen, his mind a blank slate. I've never encountered someone so lacking a comprehension of 2. Surely, even a pig has a comprehension of at least 5? In comparison to his comprehension, his spiritual root is even more peculiar. A mixed spiritual root like this is a rarity that appears only once in countless millennia. With such talent, if he ever breaks through to the first layer of chi refinement, I will livestream eating a bizarre delicacy." In the face of these cutting jeers and mockery, Su Chao approached the testing platform with a stoic expression. What of having a mixed spiritual root? What of possessing low talent? The path of cultivation is long and arduous, reliant not merely on initial talent. If all else fails, he could always turn to demonic cultivation, which does not concern itself with innate gifts. Having arrived in this world brimming with opportunities, he is determined not to lead a life of mediocrity. "Don't be disheartened, buddy. If it comes to it, I got your back." A young man with striking brows and bright eyes, his nose elegantly aquiline, cheerfully patted Su Chao's shoulder. This youth, named Wang Shan, was Su Chao's childhood friend and desk mate. During this testing ceremony, he awakened a superior single spiritual root with an exceptional comprehension, reaching 62, truly a genius. Spiritual roots are classified into inferior, medium, superior, and elite categories. As long as one awakens a single spiritual root of any attribute and achieves a comprehension above 50, they possess the potential for foundational cultivation. Even the most ordinary inferior spiritual roots can lead to such potential. But someone like Wang Shan, with a superior single spiritual root and a comprehension of 62, is already considered qualified for golden core cultivation. In certain families, those at the golden core stage are regarded as elder-level figures. "Thank you, brother," Su Chao replied with a slight nod, a smile gracing his face. Just then, a cold and resolute voice echoed from nearby. "Su Chao, we should part ways." Both Su Chao and Wang Shan were taken aback, instinctively turning towards the source of the voice. There stood a graceful young woman, poised and elegant, her features strikingly beautiful, yet her expression was tinged with indifference and determination. Her name was Lin Yu, Su Chao's childhood sweetheart. Lin Yu approached slowly, her tone frigid as she declared, "You, a waste with a mixed five-element spiritual root, are no longer worthy of me. I refuse to squander my future on someone devoid of hope. Lin Yu, seek a strong individual who can command the winds and rains in the realm of cultivation, not a failure like you. From this moment on, we shall part ways, with no ties remaining." Upon hearing this, Su Chao remained unfazed, but Wang Shan could no longer contain himself. Anger boiling within, he clenched his fists, his eyes ablaze as he shouted, "This woman, who values wealth over character, is utterly superficial. Is it not just an awakening of a superior spiritual root? Have you forgotten how Su Chao treated you? To buy you the latest iPhone, he scrimped and saved for 3 months. He endured the most meager meals and toiled at various odd jobs just to gather enough money for that phone. When you fell ill, he cared for you day and night, pouring his heart and soul into those days. Have you forgotten all of this? Now, you heartlessly abandon him simply because of his poor spiritual root. Do you have no conscience left?" A disdainful smile played on Lin Yu's lips, her gaze dismissive as she replied coldly, "Were those acts something I compelled him to do? He willingly sacrificed for me. I have never forced him. Emotions are inherently reciprocal now that I find him lacking in my expectations. Leaving him is only natural." With that, she turned her gaze to Su Chao, her eyes devoid of any lingering affection. "Su Chao, do not mistake my actions for cruelty. This is the survival rule of the immortal cultivation realm," she stated before departing without a glance back. Wang Shan vigorously shook Su Chao's shoulders, attempting to lift his spirits. "Brother Chao, you cannot let her words bring you down. It's merely a test. It does not determine anything. So what if I have a mixed elemental root? Who says that a mixed root cannot achieve greatness? Her vision is limited. She cannot see your potential. It is she who is blind to the truth." Hearing this, Su Chao felt a warmth in his heart. As the saying goes, adversity reveals true friendship. In his moment of despair, those around him altered their attitudes, either growing distant or looking down upon him. Yet, Wang Shan remained steadfastly by his side. "Don't worry, Shan. She's just a woman," Su Chao replied, a carefree smile gracing his face.
Chapter 2: Does qualification determine the future? Really, Chao Gu? You mustn't deceive me, my brother. Wang Shan gazed at Su Chao with a face full of concern. His brows furrowed tightly, his eyes brimming with care and skepticism. He could hardly believe that Su Chao would so easily let go. He understood well the significance of this relationship to Su Chao. Meeting Wang Shan's gaze, Su Chao straightened his chest deliberately and grinned, saying, "Look at you, all anxious." Su Chao, I'm not so fragile. Relationships may fade, but life is long. One cannot wallow in despair over such trivial matters. Observing that Su Chao did not seem to be feigning, Wang Shan felt a weight lift from his heart, though still carrying a hint of uncertainty. "Chao Gu, it would be wonderful if you can think this way. However, should there be anything troubling you, do not hesitate to confide in me. We shall find a solution together." Su Chao nodded, reassuring him, "Understood, you needn't worry." The morning slipped away swiftly, and soon Su Chao and Wang Shan arrived at the school cafeteria. Su Chao's family was not particularly affluent. Both parents were laborers at the bottom of the social ladder, scrimping and saving to support his education. All for the sake of a brighter future for him. Thus, during meals at the cafeteria, Su Chao typically consumed only a bowl of thin porridge accompanied by a steamed bun. Occasionally, Wang Shan would take it upon himself to care for him, always finding various excuses to treat Su Chao to better fare. Upon entering the cafeteria, Wang Shan clapped Su Chao on the shoulder and declared, "Chao Gu. Lunch is on me today." Su Chao smiled and nodded, "All right then, I shall take advantage of your generosity." "Hey. I sent that the academic prodigy, Su." A voice tinged with mockery drifted over as Wang Shan went to fetch their meal. Su Chao turned to see Lin Yu approaching alongside a man named Lu Xiaochuan, who had once pursued her. During the time Su Chao and Lin Yu were together, Lu Xiaochuan had threatened him multiple times to break up with her. At this moment, Lu Xiaochuan wore a smug and provocative grin, deliberately draping his arm over Lin Yu's shoulder, tauntingly saying, "Su Chao, I told you long ago that you are unworthy of Lin Yu. Only I am her true match. What do you say now?" With a slight lift of his chin, he exuded an air of arrogant confidence. Lin Yu cast Su Chao a look of disdain, impatiently stating, "Su Chao, we have already broken up, do you still not comprehend? Your incessant following only serves to disgust me further." Su Chao felt somewhat speechless. How could a simple outing for a meal invite such ridicule? Had he been the original owner of this body, he might have exchanged a few sharp words with Lu Xiaochuan, but Su Chao chose not to engage. His background was in no way comparable to Lu Xiaochuan's. The latter could extinguish him as effortlessly as crushing an ant, requiring no direct intervention. In the absence of sufficient strength, he would not recklessly make enemies unless driven by considerable benefit. Seeing Su Chao silent, Lu Xiaochuan's arrogance grew, boasting, "Su Chao, just look at your current pitiful state. What could you possibly compare with me? You cannot match my spiritual roots, you are a mixed element. While I possess a top-tier fire attribute. As for family background, my father is the chairman of Lu Group. However, you are merely a destitute lad who has emerged from some obscure corner. My dear, do not stoop to engage with such lowly individuals. Let us hasten away and not waste our time here, which might dampen our spirits." Lin Yu playfully tugged at Lu Xiaochuan's arm. Lu Xiaochuan, in turn, embraced Lin Yu's waist, wearing a triumphant smile, and deliberately raised his voice, declaring, "All right, my darling, I shall heed your wishes." With that, the pair proceeded directly to the upscale restaurant on the second floor of the cafeteria. This establishment was exclusively designated for students from affluent families and those who excelled academically. Standing in stark contrast to the ordinary dining area on the first floor. "Chao, did that wretched girl and Liu dog just bully you?" Wang Shan inquired angrily upon returning from the food line. Su Chao slightly shook his head, "It's nothing, just some petty mockery." Wang Shan, however, was not inclined to let the matter rest easily. He slammed his palm on the table, causing the dishes to rattle violently, and shouted, "How can we just ignore this? That Lu Xiaochuan is nothing but a brat with a wealthy father and so-called exceptional talent. What is so remarkable about that? Chao, you mustn't endure this. We cannot simply swallow our pride," he exclaimed, rolling up his sleeves as if preparing to confront Lu Xiaochuan. Su Chao quickly grasped Wang Shan's arm, advising, "Shan, impulsiveness will not resolve our issues. Confronting them now will only exacerbate the situation. We need not stoop to their level. In this realm of cultivation, strength is paramount. Once we possess sufficient power, these grievances will be trivial." Although Wang Shan harbored lingering resentment, he recognized the wisdom in Su Chao's words and reluctantly lowered his sleeves, muttering, "Very well, Chao, I shall follow your lead. Su Chao. Su Chao, the homeroom teacher requests your presence in the office immediately." Just then, the classmate rushed over. Panting heavily with hands on his knees, finally managing to catch his breath enough to speak urgently. Upon hearing this, Su Chao paused momentarily. A look of confusion crossing his face as he murmured, "The teacher is looking for me. I wonder what it could be." He turned to Wang Shan, saying, "Shan, I need to head to the office to see what the teacher wants." After straightening his attire, he quickly made his way to the homeroom teacher's office. As he walked, Su Chao felt a mix of anxiety and curiosity about the reason behind the teacher's summons. Arriving at the office door, he took a deep breath and gently knocked. Upon hearing a voice beckoning him to enter, he slowly pushed the door open. Inside, the homeroom teacher sat at the desk, bearing a grave expression. Upon noticing Su Chao's entrance, the teacher slightly lifted his head, his gaze falling upon Su Chao, tinged with a hint of remorse. The teacher sighed softly. Gesturing to the chair opposite him, "Su Chao, please take a seat." A sense of foreboding washed over Su Chao as he settled into the chair with a degree of apprehension. After a brief pause, the teacher began, "Su Chao. The reason I called you here is to discuss an important matter. In light of your performance on the awakening test, the school is prepared to revoke your financial aid for the underprivileged." Su Chao was momentarily taken aback, his face a portrait of disbelief. "Teacher, how is this related to the awakening test? Why must my financial aid be rescinded because of this?" The homeroom teacher shook his head helplessly, explaining that the school's stance was that possessing a mixed element root would lead to a bleak future, no matter how well one performed in ordinary subjects. The path of cultivation was destined for futility. It was deemed more prudent to allocate the financial aid to those with greater potential and superior root qualities. Su Chao clenched his fists tightly, his eyes brimming with indignation. Was it truly all about inherent quality? Could a person's future be solely determined by such attributes? I have tirelessly studied, achieving the highest grades in every subject across the school. In what way am I inferior to others? Chapter 3. It turns out I have a system, so it's all good. The homeroom teacher sighed softly. "I understand your feelings, Su Chao. However, in this world where cultivation is held in high esteem, innate talent is undeniably a crucial criterion. Yet, I have faith in you, even if your talent is not exceptional. Your diligence will surely carve out a path of your own. Although the matter of the scholarship has reached a conclusion, you must not let it dishearten you." As she spoke, the teacher retrieved a small envelope from her desk and handed it to Su Chao. "Here is 2,000, a small token from me." Su Chao's eyes widened in shock, and he instinctively stepped back, refusing. "Teacherly, this is not appropriate. Such a large sum, I cannot accept. You have your own burdens." The homeroom teacher stepped forward, firmly placing the envelope into Su Chao's hands. "Do not refuse it. I am aware of your urgent need for this money. With these funds, you can improve your circumstances. This is the only way I can assist you." Su Chao bowed deeply, saying, "Teacherly, I shall remember your immense kindness. If I ever find success in the future, I will not forget the help you have given me today." At that moment, as Su Chao accepted the envelope, a new interface suddenly appeared before him. The ultimate cash flow system is bound. Current status, inactive. Activation conditions, recharge 1 cash point. Current cash point ratio, 110,000, Huaxia currency. Su Chao gazed at the string of information, his heart leaping with joy, only to be swiftly clouded by despair. 10,000 Huaxia coins was undoubtedly an astronomical figure for him at present. The part-time jobs near the school offered meager wages and were labor-intensive, making it impossible to gather such a sum in a short time. Was he truly to watch this potentially life-altering system remain inactive simply because of that 10,000? Unwilling to accept such a fate, Su Chao's resolve began to solidify. He would find a way to give it a try. "Brother Chao, what did the homeroom teacher say to you?" Upon returning to the cafeteria, Wang Shon asked with a curious expression. "Nothing much," Su Chao replied, shaking his head gently, forcing a semblance of a carefree smile to mask the turmoil within. "Do you have money, Shanzi?" After a moment of hesitation, Su Chao finally inquired. "How much do you need to borrow?" Wang Shon responded without a hint of hesitation. Su Chao took a deep breath and extended a finger. 100. I'll transfer it to you right away." Wang Shon skillfully pulled out his phone, his fingers dancing quickly across the screen. Su Chao hurriedly waved his hand, his expression turning complex with a mix of embarrassment and gratitude. "Shanzi, it's not 100. It's 10,000. I'm truly sorry for the misunderstanding, it's my fault for not being clear." Wang Shon paused for a moment, then put his phone away. He did not display any signs of displeasure or impatience, instead, he pondered briefly before looking at Su Chao earnestly. I'll get it to you after school this afternoon. Since the awakening, the original classes have been restructured, with Wang Shan placed directly into the elite class, while Su Chao remained in the regular class. The elite class focuses on knowledge related to cultivation, whereas the regular class continues to emphasize conventional academic subjects, with no mention of cultivation at all. The setting sun bathed the campus in a golden hue as the afternoon bell rang, prompting students to pack their bags and exit the classroom in small groups. Wang Shan had already prepared his belongings and, after stepping out of the school gates, made his way to a quiet corner by the roadside, where he took out his phone and dialed home. The call connected swiftly. "Hello. Mom, I've awakened my high-grade spiritual root, and my aptitude has exceeded 60. On the other end, Wang's mother responded with palpable excitement. "That is wonderful, my son. You truly make me proud." After a moment of hesitation, Wang Shan mustered the courage to continue. "Mom, I'd like to borrow 10,000 yuan to purchase some qi gathering pills. Our teacher mentioned that these pills greatly assist those who have just awakened their spiritual roots and can accelerate the cultivation process. If I can use them, I'm sure I can break through to the first level of qi refinement." Upon hearing the term qi gathering pills, Wang's mother let out a soft sigh and fell silent for a moment. She was well aware of these pills, in this era where everyone could cultivate. Even ordinary people had some knowledge of cultivation aids. Although Wang Shan's family was better off than Su Chao's, they were still an average household. 10,000 yuan was a considerable expense for the Wang family. However, for the sake of her son's future, Wang's mother gritted her teeth and tried to keep her voice steady. "Son, I understand this is a rare opportunity. I cannot hinder your prospects. I will transfer the money to you right away." Upon hearing this, Wang Shan's eyes instantly reddened, his voice quaking with emotion as he responded, "Thank you, Mom. I promise I will repay you and Dad well in the future." Wang's mother fought back her tears and smiled, saying, "Silly child. There is no need to speak of repayment. As long as you succeed, all of this will be worthwhile. Make good use of the qi gathering pills to enhance your strength, and don't worry about us at home." After hanging up, Wang Shan stood still, clutching his phone tightly, his emotions turbulent. He was acutely aware of the struggles and hopes his mother had invested behind that 10,000 yuan. Yet Su Chao was his brother, and he must be in dire straits to have approached him for assistance. Before long, Su Chao hurried over from the school. Spotting Wang Shan waiting by the roadside, he jogged up cautiously and inquired, "How did it go, Shan?" Seeing Su Chao's anxious yet hopeful expression, Wang Shan sighed internally but still smiled as he patted Su Chao's shoulder. "I just spoke with my mom, the money issue is settled. I'll transfer it to you now." Wang Shan pulled out his phone and, after a few taps, sent the funds, urging, "Check to see if you received it." Su Chao quickly retrieved his phone, and upon seeing the notification of the transfer, his eyes brimmed with tears. He lifted his head, gazing at Wang Shan, his lips trembling. "Shan, I truly do not know how to express my gratitude towards you." "What gratitude? There is no need for such formalities between us," Wang Shan replied with a feigned lightness. That evening, after having dinner with Wang Shan, Su Chao returned home. As he stepped through the doorway, his mother, Zhang Xiujuan, called from within, "Has Xiao Chao eaten?" Su Chao smiled and nodded, "Yes, I have eaten. Shan treated me." At that moment, his father, Su Guodong, emerged from the kitchen, his gaze filled with concern and anticipation. "How did your spiritual root awakening go today?" Hearing his father's question, Su Chao's smile faltered slightly. Recognizing the expression on his son's face, Su Guodong understood that the outcome of the awakening was likely not as promising as hoped. He placed a reassuring hand on Su Chao's shoulder and said, "It's all right. Even if the path of immortality eludes you, it does not mean your life lacks other splendid possibilities. My child, there are countless professions in this world, and excellence can be found in every field. If we cannot pursue immortality, then let us live well in the mundane world. You are intelligent and quick to learn, whatever endeavor you choose. I believe you will carve out a remarkable path." Chapter 4: Temporarily Avoiding the Spotlight, Cultivating One's Inner Strength. Su Chao nodded vigorously, "Yes, father, I understand." Upon returning to his room, Su Chao activated the system. The ultimate recharge system has been bound. Current status, inactive. Activation condition, recharge 1 point. Current recharge ratio, 1:10,000, Huaxia currency. Gazing at the inactive section of the panel, Su Chao gritted his teeth and silently urged the system, recharge 1 point. In an instant, a flash of light illuminated the room, and the data on the system panel began to fluctuate rapidly. Recharge successful. The ultimate recharge system has been activated. Host, Su Chao. Recharge level 1, next upgrade, 100,000 Huaxia currency. Current level gains 100 recharge points. Current recharge points, 1, spiritual roots, gold attribute, wood attribute, water attribute, fire attribute, earth attribute, all of low quality. Each upgrade of a single root requires 1 recharge point. Comprehension, 2, each point increase in comprehension requires 1 recharge point. Could one truly enhance comprehension and spiritual roots? A flicker of astonishment crossed Su Chao's eyes. It is well known that spiritual roots and comprehension are pivotal factors determining a martial artist's lifelong achievements. Particularly in the latter stages of cultivation, the difficulty escalates geometrically. Even the slightest discrepancy can lead to drastically divergent outcomes. Su Chao scrutinized the information displayed on the system panel, rapidly weighing his options. Both the single root upgrade and comprehension upgrade required 1 recharge point. And with only 1 point at his disposal, he was compelled to make a choice. First, he dismissed the comprehension upgrade. Comprehension represented the speed of understanding martial arts and techniques. With his current level of comprehension, gaining an additional point would be of little benefit. Next, he considered the spiritual roots. Although a mixed spiritual root is considered the lowest tier among cultivators, enhancing one of the roots might break his current predicament. But which one should he choose? Su Chao scratched his head in contemplation. After much deliberation, he resolved to enhance the fire root first. The rationale was simple: the fire root could improve alchemical success rates, making it easier for him to become an alchemist. A low-level alchemist does not require high comprehension. Practice makes perfect. Once he becomes an alchemist, financial worries would be a thing of the past. System, utilize the recharge point to enhance the fire root. With that thought, Su Chao silently urged. Fire root has been successfully upgraded to low grade. Next upgrade of fire root to mid grade requires 2 recharge points. In an instant, a surge of scorching energy emanated from the system, coursing through Su Chao's meridians and rushing towards his spiritual roots. He felt an unbearable heat enveloping him. As though he were submerged in a sea of flames, his skin reddened and burned, beads of sweat cascading down his face. Yet he gritted his teeth and persevered, his eyes brimming with determination. As this power continued to meld the fire spirit root, the once dim and lifeless root began to shimmer with a faint red glow. The brilliance gradually intensified, its luminosity escalating, and the temperature steadily rose. Su Chao could distinctly sense the transformation and growth of the fire spirit root. As his mastery over the flame's essence became increasingly adept. At last, the radiance slowly dissipated, and a system prompt resonated within Su Chao's mind. With excitement, he examined the state of his spirit root, which now resembled a flickering flame sprite, emanating waves of formidable and pure energy. If I were to elevate all 5 spirit roots to the sacred level, who could possibly rival me? Su Chao clenched his fists in exhilaration, his eyes brimming with visions of the future. The following day, upon arriving at school, Su Chao intended to visit the library in search of knowledge on the fundamentals of alchemy. However, upon reaching the entrance, he was intercepted by the librarian. With a frigid expression, the librarian stated, "The first floor is 1,000 per hour, the second floor is 10,000 per hour. Which level do you wish to enter?" Su Chao's eyes widened in disbelief as he exclaimed, "What? There's a fee to enter the library, and such an exorbitant one at that." The librarian, visibly annoyed, retorted, "If it's too expensive, then don't enter." The school invested a considerable sum to acquire these martial arts techniques. If you can't afford it, then leave and don't waste my time. Su Chao felt a wave of frustration wash over him. He had hoped to find books related to alchemy for study, only to discover the need for payment. Surely, Su Chao, the academic prodigy, could not be lacking such a trivial amount of money. Just then, a voice filled with derision reached his ears, and he turned to see Lu Xiaochuan, hand in hand with Lin Yu, standing nearby with an air of triumph. Lu Xiaochuan puffed out his chest and raised his chin slightly, exuding an attitude that seemed to declare his superiority to the world. What is the matter, Su Chao? You appear rather forlorn. Could it be that I've hit the nail on the head and you can't even scrape together enough for the library fee? Lu Xiaochuan spoke loudly, his tone laced with provocation and mockery. Su Chao, choosing silence, turned to leave. I cannot afford to offend you. Nor can I afford to escape your ire. Trying to leave? Lu Xiaochuan sneered, stepping forward to block Su Chao's path. What do you intend to do? Su Chao replied, his face devoid of expression. Lu Xiaochuan smirked wickedly, leaning closer to Su Chao and whispering in a tone meant solely for their ears, it's quite simple. In front of everyone, admit that you are nothing but a pitiful beggar. Then I will let you go. Upon hearing this, Su Chao clenched his fists tightly, the veins on the back of his hands bulging, his nails nearly embedding themselves into his flesh. Do not go too far. Su Chao managed to force out through gritted teeth. Yet, Lu Xiaochuan remained unfazed, taunting, what, do you want to hit me? If you dare raise a hand, I guarantee you won't be able to stay in this school. Su Chao struggled to contain his impulse, aware that any act of aggression would play directly into Lu Xiaochuan's scheme, potentially inviting even greater trouble. He released his fists, took a deep breath, and endeavored to keep his voice steady. If I say it, will you cease to harass me? Lu Xiaochuan's face displayed a triumphant expression as he playfully patted Su Chao's cheek, carelessly remarking, of course, as long as you readily admit it. We shall keep our distance from one another. Although Su Chao felt a surge of indignation within, he chose to speak slowly to avoid unnecessary trouble. I am a worthless failure. Instantly, a chorus of laughter erupted around him, then Lu Xiaochuan doubled over in amusement, pointing at Su Chao and exclaiming to others, look, this is our school's great failure, ha ha ha. I was truly blind to have ever been interested in someone like you. Lin Yu's brows furrowed in disdain, her eyes glinting with contempt as she cast a loathing glance at Su Chao. She felt that having been associated with him was nothing short of a dark chapter in her history. How could she have ever found this spineless individual appealing? Even if Su Chao were to strike Lu Xiaochuan, Lin Yu would regard him with a modicum of respect. Ignoring Lin Yu's harsh words, Su Chao turned and strode away. Upon returning to the classroom, he quietly took his seat as usual, retrieving his textbook. Chapter 5: Breakthrough of the Fire Spirit Route to Mid-Level. As more and more classmates returned to the classroom, the events that had transpired outside the library swiftly spread like wildfire within the room. Whispers filled the air, and glances of curiosity, disdain, and sympathy were cast towards Su Chao. A few girls, known for their penchant for gossip, huddled together, their voices low yet audible enough for those around to hear. Have you heard? Su Chao actually admitted in front of so many people that he is a destitute failure. How utterly embarrassing. Indeed. I can't fathom how he can still show his face in class. If it were me, I would have found a crack in the ground to hide in. Another girl chimed in, stifling a laugh behind her hand. Perhaps he has gotten used to it. After all, he has always been so inconspicuous. This time, he has gained notoriety. Their words reached the ears of nearby classmates, many of whom displayed mocking smiles. However, Su Chao remained unfazed, entirely engrossed in his studies. As if those cutting remarks were non-existent. When the noon bell rang, the campus erupted in liveliness. Students packed their bags and headed towards the cafeteria in groups. Just as Su Chao descended the stairs, he encountered Wang Shun. At that moment, Wang Shun's expression was exceedingly grim. He rushed towards Su Chao, gripping his arms tightly. Why did you do that? Is this still the fearless Su Chao I know? Wang Shan's eyes were bloodshot, filled with rage and inquiry. Su Chao slightly lowered his head, remaining silent for a moment before lifting it again, revealing a hint of exhaustion and helplessness in his gaze. What else could I have done? Confronting him directly would only exacerbate the situation. I do not wish to bring more trouble upon myself or those around me. Wang Shan clenched his teeth, his face contorted with unwillingness. Yet, swallowing his indignation felt too suffocating. I might as well trade my life for his. Su Chao furrowed his brow, his gaze unwaveringly resolute as he fixed his eyes on Wang Shan. Calm down. Such impulsive thoughts will resolve nothing. If you act on them, not only will you suffer, but what about your parents? Wang Shan trembled slightly, his fists clenched, veins bulging on his forehead. Then what should we do? Are we to continue living under his oppression, enduring this humiliation? Su Chao shook his head. Let us bide our time and seek revenge once we have the strength. Do you know where one can secure a loan in Zhongcheng? Su Chao changed the subject. Wang Shan paused, looking at Su Chao in surprise. A loan? What do you intend to do? This is not something to be taken lightly, the risks are immense. Besides, didn't I just lend you 10,000 yesterday? Su Chao locked his gaze onto Wang Shan's eyes. Shan, do you trust me? Wang Shan thumped his chest with determination, his eyes ablaze as he replied. Is that even a question? We grew up together, or if I don't trust you, who else can I trust? Su Chao said, since you trust me, tell me where in Zhongqing I can secure a loan. Even if it's at high interest, it doesn't matter. Upon hearing these words, Wang Shan's brows furrowed in an instant. After a brief silence, he spoke slowly, my friend knows a few places. But Chaozi, I truly hope you reconsider. Think about it. What is the nature of usury? The interest rates are exorbitantly high, and the repayment terms are exceedingly harsh. A slight misstep could ruin your life. It is something to be avoided unless absolutely necessary. Su Chao sighed deeply, am I not aware of that? Yet I have compelling reasons to seek a loan. Wang Shan's expression turned grave, his lips pressed firmly into a straight line. After much hesitation, he finally uttered, tonight, I will take you there. Arriving at the cafeteria. It was bustling with activity, filled with the enticing aroma of mixed dishes, the sounds of laughter, and the clinking of cutlery intermingling. Su Chao found a corner seat. Carelessly placing his tray aside, his mind completely detached from the food before him. He took out his phone, swiftly swiping through the screens, accessing various online lending platforms. He noted the amounts available for borrowing, with some offering hundreds and others thousands. Su Chao proceeded to apply for loans from all the platforms that would approve him. His fingers dancing across the screen as he filled out personal information and submitted applications in one fluid motion. After applying to more than a dozen lenders, he finally paused. He had exhausted all possible loans, and now awaited approval. Around 7 in the evening, the amounts for his applications began to arrive. As notifications popped up on his phone screen, he eagerly checked each one. In total, he had secured 20,000 yuan. Given his youth, just recently turned 18, lacking stable employment, and devoid of collateral, being able to borrow such a sum from numerous platforms was commendable. Without hesitation, Su Chao immediately transferred the newly acquired 20,000 yuan into the system. Host consumes 20,000 Hoshia coins, successfully recharges 2 premium points. Watching the balance diminish on his phone, he felt no pang of regret. As the saying goes, one cannot catch a wolf without parting with a child. Once the recharge was complete, Su Chao began to enhance his fire spiritual root. Host consumes 2 premium points, elevating the low-grade fire spiritual root to a medium grade. Next upgrade requires 3 premium points. As the system's prompt resonated, Su Chao felt a surge of heat erupt from his dantian, akin to a tumultuous undercurrent raging within. This wave of warmth was both searing and immense, coursing through his meridians as if they were ablaze, bringing forth a stinging sensation. Yet, rather than fear, his eyes sparkled with excitement and anticipation. The heat intensified, racing along his extraordinary meridians, each impact causing his body to tremble slightly. Gradually, this force spread throughout him, and Su Chao sensed his skin growing hot and flushed, as if being roasted over an open flame. Beads of sweat poured from his forehead and back, soaking his clothes. After a moment, the rampant energy that had engulfed him began to subside, akin to a tide retreating. Su Chao gasped for breath, taking deep, heavy inhalations. His chest heaved violently, a flush still lingering on his face, while sweat-soaked strands of hair clung to his cheeks. Despite his profound fatigue, his eyes sparkled with unmistakable excitement and satisfaction. He had attained a middle-grade fire spiritual root. Now, with merely an investment of 30,000, he could elevate it to a superior grade. Once he reached the superior grade, Su Chao felt a 40% chance of becoming an alchemist. Not long after Su Chao had improved his fire spiritual root to middle grade, Wang Shun emerged from the school. Upon seeing Wang Shun, Su Chao eagerly approached him, smiling as he inquired, "Shun, how does it feel to be in the elite class?" Wang Shun wore a troubled expression and sighed heavily. "Don't even mention it, they teach nothing about martial arts techniques, and the theoretical knowledge is overwhelming." Su Chao paused momentarily, then placed a reassuring hand on Wang Shun's shoulder, saying, "Don't worry, perhaps the school is prioritizing theoretical knowledge to lay a solid foundation for you." Wang Shun helplessly waved his hand, responding, "That may be so, but this foundation building seems excessively prolonged. As cultivators, we should seize every moment. Enough of that. Have you made up your mind?" Wang Shun abruptly shifted the conversation, his gaze fixed on Su Chao, his eyes reflecting a hint of inquiry. Chapter 6. Wang Shun's friend. Old Lu and Su Chao were discussing high-interest loans. Su Chao nodded slightly, having made up his mind. Wang Shun said, "Since it is so, follow me." With that, he approached the roadside. The evening rush hour was in full swing, with cars bustling and noise filling the air. Standing at the curb, he furrowed his brow, his gaze swiftly scanning the passing vehicles for something. Before long, a blue sedan slowly approached. Wang Shun's eyes brightened instantly, and he quickly raised his hand to hail the car. As the vehicle came to a halt before him, he called out to Su Chao behind him, "Get in, driver." To Central Street, Wang Shun instructed once they were inside. 10 minutes later, the taxi stopped outside an electronics store. Wang Shun paid the fare, opened the door, and stepped out. Su Chao followed, looking at Wang Shun in confusion. "Why are we here?" Wang Shun smiled mysteriously. "Follow me, and you'll find out soon." Although filled with skepticism, Su Chao chose to trail behind Wang Shun, who walked briskly into the store. Inside, various electronic devices radiated a sense of technological splendor. In a relatively concealed corner of the shop, a young man reclined in a rattan chair, leisurely crossing his legs and engrossed in a magazine featuring models in bikinis on the cover. Wang Shun approached and waved a hand in front of the young man. "Old Lu, didn't you mention last time that there are 3 loan sharks in the city?" Old Lu lowered the magazine and shot Wang Shun a glance. "That is true, but what is this? You are not getting involved in high-interest loans, are you?" Wang Shun shook his head. "It's not for me. It's for my brother." He gestured towards Su Chao. Old Lu furrowed his brow and regarded Su Chao with a hint of scrutiny. "Does your brother have any collateral?" Su Chao shook his head. "No." Old Lu's frown deepened. "Without collateral, you won't be able to borrow much." Su Chao furrowed his brow, inquiring, "How much can the 3 of them lend in total?" After a moment of contemplation, Old Lu replied, "Normally, without collateral, the total would max out at around 80,000 to 100,000. The interest rate is exorbitant, 9 out of 13. 80,000 to 100,000. Su Chao murmured to himself. "That is sufficient. Raising my mid-grade spiritual root to a top-grade one only costs around 70,000, and I still have some left for library studies." Wang Shan turned to Su Chao and asked, "So, what do you think? Should we go for it?" Without hesitation, Su Chao nodded, his eyes gleaming with determination. His tone resolute. "Yes. We must take the loan." At that moment, he cast aside all doubts, fixating solely on seizing this rare opportunity. To him, this loan was a pivotal chance to transform his fate. Wang Shan turned to Old Lu and said, "Please arrange this for my brother." Old Lu cautioned Su Chao. "Be sure not to default, otherwise, they will not spare you. The consequences can be dire, ranging from losing your life to complete ruin." Su Chao nodded slightly, grateful for the warning. Old Lu, noticing Su Chao's resolute demeanor, waved his hand and said, "All right, follow me." With that, he strode out of the furniture store, prompting Su Chao to hastily follow suit, leaving Wang Shan behind to tend to the shop. Su Chao quietly trailed Old Lu to a concealed gambling den nestled within a narrow and dimly lit alley. The walls surrounding the alley bore the scars of time, adding to its obscurity. The entrance to the casino was remarkably discreet, had it not been for Old Lu's guidance. Su Chao would have struggled to unveil the hidden world within. Upon pushing open the seemingly ordinary door, a wave of mixed scents of smoke and alcohol, accompanied by the clamor of voices, engulfed him. Old Lu navigated the space with familiarity, occasionally greeting acquaintances, while Su Chao followed cautiously behind. Before long, they arrived at the 5th floor, which, in stark contrast to the bustling scenes below, exuded an aura of tranquility. Standing before a closed door, Old Lu raised his hand and knocked gently, the rhythm steady and deliberate. After a brief moment, a deep voice emanated from within, commanding, "Come in." Old Lu opened the door and gestured for Su Chao to enter. The room was infused with a faint aroma of cigar smoke, dominated by a large desk at its center, behind which sat a tall man with a stern countenance, scrutinizing the newcomers. With a smile, Old Lu approached respectfully, stating, "Brother Long, this young man seeks to borrow some money from you." The man, referred to as Brother Long, nodded slightly, not immediately responding as he continued to appraise Su Chao. After a prolonged silence, he finally spoke, his voice low and gravelly, imbued with an undeniable authority. "Lu Sanfeng, are you jesting with me? You bring a mere boy here to request a loan." Old Lu's smile grew increasingly awkward, and he quickly interjected, "Brother Long, please hear me out." He stepped closer and whispered in Brother Long's ear, "He is merely a high school student, which is why I introduced him to you. Consider this, if we lend him 20 to 30,000, he will surely default, and we can justifiably seize his family's possessions as collateral." Upon hearing this, a smile flickered across Brother Long's face, acknowledging Old Lu's cleverness. He then shifted his gaze back to Su Chao and softened his tone, "Very well. In light of Old Lu's recommendation, I shall lend you this money. However, you are quite young, I can only extend a maximum of 30,000. Let me make this clear, we will adhere to the rules, proper documentation and contracts must be signed. If the repayment is not made on time, do not blame me for being unyielding." Su Chao felt a twinge of disappointment at only being able to borrow 30,000. But he set aside his concerns and eagerly nodded, "Brother Long, I am truly grateful. I will ensure timely repayment." Old Lu chimed in, eager to smooth over the situation. "Rest assured, Brother Long, I will keep a close watch on this young man. If he dares to renege, I will be the first to hold him accountable." Brother Long nodded and signaled to a nearby subordinate, "Go, bring the contract and writing materials." Shortly thereafter, the subordinate returned with the necessary items, placing them on the table. Brother Long picked up the contract, casually flipped through its pages, and handed it to Su Chao, gesturing towards the densely packed clauses. "Young man, scrutinize it carefully. Do not claim later that I deceived you. The interest rates, repayment dates, and breach of contract responsibilities are all clearly delineated. Ensure you comprehend it thoroughly before signing." Su Chao accepted the contract and examined it meticulously, his gaze fixed on every line, leaving no detail overlooked. After perusing it multiple times and confirming the absence of any apparent traps, he decisively affixed his signature. Observing this, Brother Long nodded in satisfaction and signaled to his subordinate. The subordinate retrieved a stack of cash from his bag and slapped it down onto the table, stating, 27,000 yuan, count it. No need to count. I trust Brother Long's integrity, Su Chao replied, placing the money into a pre-prepared black plastic bag. A subtle smile flickered at the corners of Brother Long's mouth, indicating approval. Remember, on this day next month, bring the money punctually. Chapter 7, A Breaking Through to Exceptional Fire Spiritual Roots upon exiting the casino. Lao Lu led Su Chao swiftly to their next destination. The proprietors of the two usury establishments, much like Brother Long, regarded Su Chao's youth with skepticism, unwilling to extend loans to him. Fortunately, with Lao Lu's presence, these lenders reluctantly provided Su Chao with 30,000 yuan. However, after deductions, he received only 27,000. After departing from the last lending establishment, Su Chao extracted 1,000 yuan from a plastic bag and handed it to Lao Lu, sincerely expressing, Brother Lu, I am truly grateful for your assistance this time, please accept this 1,000 yuan. Lao Lu did not decline, promptly slipping the money into his pocket, rightfully earned. Upon returning to the furniture store, Lao Lu was in particularly high spirits, having just received the 1,000 yuan from Su Chao. With a grand gesture, he declared, Today, in celebration, I shall treat you both to dinner. Wang Shan's eyes lit up at this announcement, excitedly exclaiming, Thank you, Brother Lu. After dining, upon returning home, Su Chao began to recharge his resources. Having borrowed 90,000 yuan and received 81,000 in hand, and after giving 1,000 to Lu Sanfeng, Su Chao now had 80,000 remaining. He intended to reserve 10,000 for his library visits, investing the remaining 70,000 entirely into the system. The host consumes 70,000 Hoxia coins, recharge of 7 gold points successful. System, elevate my fire spiritual roots. Su Chao commanded internally as the striking system notification echoed in his mind. The host consumes 3 gold points, successfully elevating fire spiritual roots to superior quality. The next upgrade requires 4 gold points. In an instant, a warm current surged from his dantian, flowing like a gentle stream throughout his meridians. Su Chao felt an unprecedented surge of power enveloping him, as if every cell was reawakened, radiating vitality. His fists clenched in exhilaration, his eyes shimmering with fervent light. The elevation of his fire spiritual roots to superior quality signified a 60% probability of becoming an alchemist. Yet, this was not the end. For his fire spiritual roots were capable of further enhancement. After previous expenditures, he had only 4 gold points remaining. Precisely the amount required for the next upgrade of his fire spiritual roots. Taking a deep breath, as if summoning every ounce of strength, he confirmed the upgrade option on the system interface. The host consumes 4 gold points, successfully elevating fire spiritual roots to exceptional quality. The next upgrade requires 5 gold points. Accompanied by the system's jubilant notification, an immense and intense energy erupted within Su Chao. He felt as if he had been cast into a roaring furnace, every inch of his skin and every meridian subjected to tremendous impact. Yet, Su Chao gritted his teeth, enduring the excruciating pain, while a blissful smile illuminated his face. For he understood that this suffering heralded a transformative rebirth, a steadfast step towards a higher realm. In that moment, the searing energy rampaged within him, as though intent on reshaping his very being. The meridians crackled and popped under the energy's relentless onslaught. It seemed on the brink of fracture at any moment, yet time and again, it resiliently withstood the immense pressure, gradually adapting and expanding. A layer of fine black sweat beads emerged on Su Chao's skin, a testament to the impurities being expelled from his body under the overwhelming force of energy. His hair danced wildly in the wind, and his clothes rustled, making him feel as if he were at the eye of a storm. Despite the unimaginable agony coursing through his body, a wave of joy surged within him like a flood breaking through a dam. The rarest of fire spiritual roots, there were only a precious few in the entire Jiang city who possessed such a gift. Moreover, Su Chao's exceptional spiritual root was of the fire element. Although it might not be as extraordinary as the ice, thunder, or wind spiritual roots, Among the fundamental 5 elemental spiritual roots, the fire element undoubtedly shone the brightest and held immense potential. Today, his fire spiritual root had fully evolved into an exceptional one. And tomorrow he could commence his studies in alchemy. Once he became an alchemist, his life would transform entirely. Su Chao's gaze was intense as he murmured to the distance. The following day, Su Chao rose early. After a brief wash, he stepped out of his home, brimming with excitement and anticipation. As he exited the building, he spotted Wang Shan, who had been waiting for some time with a backpack slung over his shoulder. Wang Shan's face lit up with a radiant smile. And upon seeing Su Chao, he enthusiastically waved and greeted, "Good morning, Brother Chao." Su Chao nodded slightly, "Morning, Shan." After breakfast, the two made their way to school. "You go ahead and attend to your business, I'm planning to visit the library," Su Chao stated to Wang Shan upon arriving at school. It was only 6:30. And with classes starting at 8, Su Chao had ample time to study for an hour. In truth, the knowledge contained in ordinary books held little value for him now. As a bearer of an exceptional fire spiritual root, he could not possibly consider enrolling in an ordinary university. He intended to seek an opportunity to discuss this matter thoroughly with his homeroom teacher. The library was opened by an elderly gentleman that day. He appeared to be in his 60s, slightly portly, reclining in a chair at the entrance while leisurely perusing a newspaper. "Sir, I wish to look at the books on the first floor," Su Chao approached and spoke softly. The old man peered over his newspaper. Sizing up Su Chao before responding coolly, "The code is on the wall, you'll need to scan it yourself for how long you wish to stay." "I have cash," Su Chao replied, feeling a bit awkward. "Cash is fine," the old man said. Su Chao quickly retrieved 1,000 yuan from his backpack and handed it to the old man. "This is 1,000. I'd like to stay on the first floor for an hour." The old man accepted the money, weighing it in his hand before nodding, "You may enter. And remember, do not damage the books." Su Chao nodded vigorously, "Rest assured, I will take great care of the books." With that, he eagerly headed towards the first floor of the library. Upon stepping onto the first floor, an air of antiquity mingled with a faint scent of ink enveloped him. The bookshelves stood densely arranged, and under the slightly dim light, an aura of mystery permeated the atmosphere. Su Chao took a deep breath, his gaze eagerly scanning the shelves. Soon, he discovered the section dedicated to alchemical texts. The shelves here appeared more antiquated than elsewhere, with a fine layer of dust resting upon the wooden surfaces, suggesting a long period of neglect. Su Chao's eyes sparkled with excitement as he hurried to the bookshelf. Before him lay a collection of neatly arranged ancient tomes. Their spines adorned with elegant calligraphy, bearing titles such as An Initial Glimpse into Alchemy, Essential Techniques for Herbal Alchemy, and a compendium of Shen formulas. His hands trembled slightly as he delicately extracted a volume titled Overview of Basic Alchemy, cautiously turning to the first page. The yellowed paper emitted a faint, crisp sound. And a wave of antiquity washed over him. Chapter 8 Preparedness as Su Chao sought counsel from Grandpa Zhao. The book opened with a succinct yet profound account of the origins of alchemy. The archaic and esoteric prose captivated Su Chao, who read with great enthusiasm. As he continued to peruse the pages, he was met with a plethora of introductions to various alchemical materials, each meticulously detailing the characteristics, growth environments, and harvesting seasons of the herbs. Completely engrossed, Su Chao found himself immersed in the enchanting realm of alchemy, rendering the outside world insignificant. At times, he would furrow his brow, grappling with complex concepts, while at other moments, he would nod instinctively, as if uncovering pivotal insights. Unbeknownst to him, time slipped away quietly. And before he knew it, an hour had passed. "Time's up," came the voice of the elderly man behind him. Su Chao suddenly snapped back to reality. Reluctantly closing the book and gently returning it to its rightful place on the shelf. With a glimmer of curiosity, Grandpa Zhao inquired, "Young man, are you interested in alchemy?" Su Chao eagerly nodded, his eyes alight with fervor. "Grandpa, I am indeed very interested." Grandpa Zhao squinted slightly, a knowing smile gracing his lips. "Alchemy is no trivial pursuit. Unless you possess a rare fire root, it's best to refrain from delving into it, otherwise, even if you become an alchemist, your journey will be fraught with obstacles. Upon hearing this, Su Chao nodded earnestly. Rest assured, Grandpa, I merely wish to earn a little money. Unable to suppress a chuckle, Grandpa Zhao replied, earn a little money. You are quite naive. Do you know how much time and resources one must invest to become an alchemist? Su Chao, taken aback, shook his head earnestly. Grandpa. I'm not quite sure, but I am willing to accumulate knowledge gradually, taking one step at a time. My family is impoverished. And I see no other way to change our circumstances. I thought that if I could master alchemy, perhaps it would lead to a brighter future. Grandpa Zhao's smile faded as he waved his hand dismissively. Very well. Since you are resolute, I shall not dissuade you further. In the ensuing days, Su Chao dedicated an hour each day to studying alchemical knowledge in the library. As time passed, his rapport with the elderly guardian deepened, while his understanding of alchemical principles expanded. He learned about the variances in harvesting different herbs during various seasons and understood the subtle nuances of controlling the furnace's heat, which significantly influenced the quality of the elixirs. However, the growth of theoretical knowledge did not satiate his thirst, he yearned for practical experience. As the weekend approached, Su Chao felt he had acquired a sufficient foundation and decided to attempt a simple alchemical practice. Naturally, alchemy required materials, and he was somewhat unfamiliar with the current market prices. To avoid being taken advantage of, he planned to seek advice from the elderly gatekeeper. Throughout these days of interaction, Su Chao discerned that although Grandpa Zhao appeared unremarkable, he seemed to harbor a wealth of knowledge regarding the realm of alchemy. One evening, as the library neared closing time, Su Chao waited for all other patrons to leave before approaching the old man. Grandpa Zhao, I have a matter on which I would appreciate your guidance, Su Chao said, slightly bowing with a humble yet eager expression. Old Zhao set aside his work and waved his hand dismissively. There's no need for guidance, or feel free to speak your mind. I will certainly assist you in any way I can. Su Chao straightened up, hesitating for a moment before speaking. Grandpa Zhao, as you know, I have been delving into the art of alchemy recently. However, I find myself utterly ignorant of the market trends regarding alchemical materials. I fear I might be taken advantage of when purchasing these items. Given your extensive connections and vast knowledge, could you enlighten me on this matter? As he spoke, Su Chao looked at Old Zhao with hopeful anticipation. Old Zhao furrowed his brow upon hearing this. How long have you been studying, and you're already eager to practice alchemy? Su Chao quickly replied, Grandpa Zhao, I understand the challenges involved. Yet, I have devoted countless hours to studying various classical formulas and theoretical knowledge. And I believe I have acquired a certain level of competence. Old Zhao sighed softly. Your determination is commendable. Very well, you intend to concoct the gathering chi powder. Am I correct? Su Chao nodded slightly. Although the gathering chi powder is considered a beginner's elixir among alchemists, Old Zhao's demeanor became serious, his gaze tinged with gravity. However, for someone inexperienced in alchemy, achieving success is no simple task. The primary ingredients required for this elixir, silver moon flower, meteor grass, and perseverance herb, can be easily procured. If you are merely practicing, I recommend purchasing the 10-year-old variants. Each of these 3 ingredients costs around 350 in the black market. And the total cost for a batch of gathering chi powder is approximately 1,000. Of course, these are black market prices, legitimate prices are considerably higher. Su Chao frowned slightly. Where is the black market located? Old Zhao replied, from midnight to 1 o'clock, the artificial hill at Coral Park on East Street will be open for the black market. Su Chao nodded eagerly. Thank you, Grandpa. However, it sounds quite complicated. Since it will be my first visit, is there anything in particular I should be wary of? Old Zhao cautioned, first and foremost, do not reveal your true identity at the black market. It is best to disguise yourself, don inconspicuous clothing, and slightly obscure your features. This way, should any trouble arise in the future, it will be harder for others to track you down. Once inside, do not trust anyone easily. Those who approach you, offering goods at low prices, are likely to be con artists. When trading, always scrutinize the authenticity and quality of the materials. Understood, Grandpa, Su Chao replied earnestly, nodding in agreement. At midnight, Su Chao took advantage of his parents' slumber, quietly rising from his bed. He carefully avoided the creaky floorboards and slowly opened the cabinet. Retrieving the purchased mask and attire for the night, he quickly donned them. Before stepping out, he glanced back at the closed door of his parents' room. Then gently closed his own door, merging into the tranquil and mysterious night, making his way towards the black market. After approximately 10 minutes, Su Chao arrived at Coral Park as described by Old Zhao. The park, shrouded in darkness, appeared particularly serene, with the usually bustling square now completely deserted. He strolled slowly along the lakeside, his eyes capturing every intricate detail. Suddenly, he noticed a faint glimmer of light seeping through a crevice in a rock formation by the water's edge. A spark of curiosity ignited within Su Chao. Could this be the entrance to the black market? He quickened his pace towards the rocky outcrop. As he approached, however, the glimmer vanished, and darkness and silence reclaimed the surroundings. Frowning slightly, he ran his hands over the rough stones, meticulously exploring every protrusion and indentation. Just as he was about to reach the base of the formation, his fingers brushed against a loose stone. He applied pressure, and to his astonishment, the stone began to shift slowly. Soon, a faint sound of mechanical gears turning resonated in the air. What had appeared to be a solid rock formation gradually revealed a narrow door, barely wide enough for a single person to pass through. A damp breeze, tinged with a hint of decay, wafted out, accompanied by a faint warm yellow glow and the distant murmur of voices. Taking a deep breath, Su Chao realized he had indeed found the right place. He stepped sideways through the portal leading into the enigmatic black market. Inside lay a narrow corridor, adorned with several sconces that emitted a gentle glow, illuminating the winding path ahead. Su Chao advanced along the passage, the sound of his footsteps echoing in the empty expanse. Chapter 9, Journey to the Black Market for Alchemical Materials. Not long after setting off, a formidable stone door appeared at the end of the passageway, adorned with ancient and esoteric patterns that hinted at its venerable age. The door was ajar, allowing a brighter light to seep through the crack, accompanied by the increasingly distinct sounds of a bustling crowd engaged in various transactions and activities beyond. Su Chao approached the stone door and gently pushed it open. In an instant, a wave of warmth, laden with the rich aromas of smoke and alcohol, enveloped him, and the scene before him was nothing short of eye-opening. The interior of the black market was remarkably spacious, teeming with people in a lively throng. Stalls lined up next to one another, brimming with an array of peculiar and exotic items. There were crystals emanating strange glows, uniquely shaped weapons, and various jars and bottles. Individuals navigated through the crowd, the cacophony of bargaining filling the air. As soon as Su Chao stepped inside, he sensed several pairs of eyes fixating on him. A twinge of anxiety coursed through him, prompting him to instinctively tighten his clothing as he steeled himself to delve into the sea of humanity, searching for the herbs necessary for his alchemical endeavors. The gazes of those around him felt like searchlights, scanning him and making him acutely aware of their scrutiny. Su Chao wove through the stalls, his eyes eagerly scanning the myriad of goods. Suddenly, his attention was captured by an inconspicuous corner where a stall adorned with a monkey mask showcased several peculiar herbaceous plants. These herbs were modest in stature, their elongated leaves appearing semi-translucent, with delicate threads of pale green fluorescence coursing within. At their tips, tiny white flowers the size of rice grains bloomed, exuding a faint yet refreshing fragrance. A surge of excitement filled Su Chao. Could this be the meteor grass, one of the primary ingredients for the chi gathering powder? He hastened forward, striving to maintain a calm demeanor as he inquired, "How much for this meteor grass, good sir?" The stall owner, peering up from beneath the monkey mask, revealed shrewd eyes that sparkled with cunning, and grinned, "Ah, young man, you have a discerning eye. This meteor grass is indeed a rare find, procured with great difficulty. Since you seem to appreciate fine goods, I'll offer you a flat price, all of it for 2,000. Su Chao remained silent, noting that there were over a dozen specimens of meteor grass on display. Old Zhao had mentioned that a decade-old meteor grass typically fetched around 350. Thus, these several plants should amount to approximately 4,000 at the very least, even at a bargain. The stall owner's offer of 2,000 seemed too good to be true. Either he was a fool or there was something amiss. The former was clearly improbable, leaving only the latter as a possibility. Su Chao scrutinized the meteor grass with an impassive expression. On the surface, they appeared indistinguishable from genuine specimens, with their verdant leaves being long and supple, pulsating with vibrant life, and the faint silver sheen at their tips consistent with age characteristics. However, Su Chao understood that the more normal they appeared, the greater the potential hidden issues might be. The price for your meteor grass is indeed tempting, but I must examine it closely, he stated, reaching out to delicately grasp a few plants, bringing them to his nose for a meticulous inspection. The normal shooting star herb should exude a refreshing medicinal fragrance, however. Apart from the familiar scent, there seems to be a subtle hint of decay. Su Chao furrowed his brow, setting down the herb as he turned to the vendor, who was wearing a monkey mask, and coldly remarked, "Boss, this shooting star herb appears to be off, there's a whiff of rot," indicating it may have been improperly stored and is starting to spoil. The vendor's eyes flickered for a moment before he hastily waved his hands, insisting, "Young man, do not speak frivolously. This herb naturally grows in humid areas, and a peculiar scent is to be expected." "There is no rot." Su Chao sneered, "A peculiar scent. Boss, I possess a fair understanding of shooting star herbs, I can easily distinguish the usual aromas." The vendor's expression darkened slightly, and a glimmer of displeasure flashed behind his mask-covered eyes. "Hey, young man, let's not speak in such a manner. I have been operating in this black market for quite some time, always honest with my customers. If you genuinely wish to purchase, we can negotiate the price without fixating on this unfounded issue." Su Chao, upon hearing this, contemplated silently, fully aware that it was unwise to escalate tensions in this chaotic marketplace. The rules here were intricate, and a minor misstep could lead to unnecessary troubles. He furrowed his brow slightly, paused for a moment, and then slowly extended 5 fingers. The vendor was momentarily taken aback, then frowned. "Young man, what do you mean? 500? That is far from sufficient, my cost for this batch of shooting star herbs exceeds that amount." Without uttering another word, Su Chao turned to leave. The vendor, sensing the urgency of the situation, hurriedly called out, Hey, young man, please wait. Don't go." He hastily caught up and grasped Su Chao's sleeve. "Young man, let's discuss this calmly. 500 is too little. How about an additional 500? Su Chao halted, casting a cold glance at the vendor before freeing his sleeve from the grip. "Add 100 more, that is my bottom line." The vendor's face displayed a flicker of hesitation and struggle as he gritted his teeth and said, "Young man, 600 is still too little, how about 800? Su Chao sighed softly, easing his tone, "Seeing you at the stall is not easy, 800 it shall be. I hope you will conduct your business with more integrity in the future and refrain from offering subpar products." With that, Su Chao reached into his pocket and counted out 800 for the vendor. "Take care, young man, feel free to seek me out if you need anything in the future," the vendor said with a smile as he watched Su Chao's retreating figure. He had acquired the shooting star herbs for a mere 100 in the countryside, and he knew many of them had already spoiled. Yet, he was uncertain about how many remained unspoiled. Su Chao might profit, but he would never incur a loss. Su Chao did not look back but merely waved his hand slightly, striding deeper into the black market. He had already observed that at least 5 of the herbs among the pile were unspoiled. Purchasing them for 800 was indeed a lucrative deal. However, this was only a portion of his collection task, as he still needed to gather silver moon flowers and stellar grass. Su Chao continued to navigate the underground market, his eyes sharp and vigilant, scanning the various stalls like a hawk in search of prey. Before long, he stumbled upon a booth dedicated to the sale of herbs. Adorned with an array of jars and vials, each emanating distinct herbal aromas. Approaching with purpose, Su Chao swiftly surveyed the display and, indeed, spotted the elusive silver moonflower and stellar grass he sought. The proprietor, a middle-aged man of stocky build adorned with a pig mask, noticed Su Chao's gaze fixed upon the two rare items and his eyes gleamed with enthusiasm. "Oh, my discerning friend. You have a keen eye. The silver moonflower and stellar grass are indeed rare treasures I managed to acquire with great difficulty." Su Chao reached out to examine a few sprigs of the herbs. Nodding slightly in approval, the merchant's wares were evidently of high quality. "Now, let us discuss the price," he inquired. The vendor grinned broadly, raising 3 fingers. "My good sir. If purchased individually, each of these exquisite herbs is priced at 300 yuan. However, should you choose to take them together, I can offer you a friendly price of 3,000 yuan. What do you say? Quite a bargain, wouldn't you agree?" Chapter 10 Su Chao's First Alchemy. Su Chao cast a glance at the silver moonflower and stellar grass, estimating that there were about a dozen plants combined. The price of 3,000 was indeed fair, so he opted not to haggle. Su Chao took out 3,000 yuan and handed it to the vendor, affirming, "All right, boss. I accept this price, I shall take my items." The vendor, with a beaming smile, promptly pocketed the money and hurriedly wrapped the silver moonflower and stellar grass. Presenting them to Su Chao with a grin, "Young man, you are straightforward. Should you require anything else in the future, do not hesitate to seek me out. I have plenty of good goods here." Su Chao carefully secured the package, nodding in acknowledgement, refraining from further conversation. In the following moments, Su Chao added 3 more meteor grasses and 2 additional silver moonflowers, ensuring a balanced total of 8 portions for his alchemical endeavors. Having completed this task, he estimated the time and felt it was nearly time to return. The next day, around 8 o'clock, after both parents had left the house, Su Chao hastily approached his desk and poured out the materials he had acquired from the black market the previous day. Typically, alchemists possess a refined alchemy furnace. But due to his family's financial constraints, Su Chao was compelled to use an old clay pot as a substitute. This pot, rough in appearance and bearing several signs of repair, stood in stark contrast to the exquisite and powerful alchemy furnaces found in prestigious alchemical families or sections. However, Su Chao remained undeterred. He was acutely aware of his limited circumstances and intended to compensate with his innate spiritual roots. Success or failure hinged upon this moment. Su Chao murmured to himself, his eyes brimming with determination. As the stove was ignited, Su Chao methodically placed the silver moonflower, meteor grass, and perseverance grass into the clay pot. Upon entering the pot, the silver moonflower emitted a cool, silvery radiance reminiscent of moonlight cascading down. The meteor grass followed suit, bursting forth with an explosion of brilliant light akin to shooting stars, while the perseverance grass, when added, released a weighty and stable aura. After covering the pot, beads of sweat began to form on Su Chao's forehead. He dared not divert his gaze from the stove, ever ready to adjust the flame's intensity. With his exceptional fire spiritual root, he possessed a keen sensitivity to the size of the flames. As seconds ticked away, the materials within the pot gradually melded into a unified essence, releasing an increasingly potent aroma of medicine. Yet, Su Chao remained vigilant. For the most crucial phase of condensing the elixir was imminent. He understood that this was the true test of his control over the flames. Should there be even the slightest deviation in temperature or intensity, all the precious materials would be rendered useless. At last, a faint buzzing sound emanated from the pot. Though subtle, it reverberated in Su Chao's ears like a resounding bell. He swiftly reduced the flame to its lowest setting, maintaining a delicate warmth, akin to nurturing a life on the verge of birth. At this moment, the alchemy room was enveloped in silence, save for the almost imperceptible murmurs of the flames. As time trickled by, the buzzing within the pot grew louder, its rhythm becoming increasingly steady. Suddenly, the dark mass began to emerge through the crevice of the pot's lid. Su Chao's eyes widened in shock. How could this happen? According to common reasoning, this should be the moment when the elixir is about to emerge in perfect form. How could there instead be a mass of indistinct black substance? This formless entity continued to expand, emanating a pungent and unpleasant odor, starkly contrasting with the previously rich and enticing aroma of the herbs. Su Chao, consumed by anxiety, hastily lifted the pot lid to investigate. In an instant, a wave of acrid, charred air assaulted him, forcing a cough from his throat. As the murky air gradually dissipated, he peered into the pot, only to find that the meticulously prepared herbs had transformed into a lifeless mass of blackened char, devoid of any semblance of an elixir. What could have gone awry? Su Chao murmured to himself, his brow furrowed as he began to meticulously retrace the entire alchemical process. From the selection and preparation of the materials to the control of the heat, he had deliberated over each step, convinced he had made no errors. Yet the outcome was disheartening. He closed his eyes, replaying each detail in his mind like a film. The materials were chosen from the appropriate harvest year, so there should be no issue there. As for the preparation, Su Chao had always taken a hands-on approach, scrupulously following the methods outlined in the texts for washing and arranging each herb. Wait, the texts? Suddenly, a realization dawned upon him, and his expression shifted dramatically. While the methods described in the book were indeed correct, they came with the crucial prerequisite of using an alchemical furnace, whereas Su Chao had utilized a clay pot. His eyes brimmed with regret and indignation. All along, he had been fixated on adhering to the book's instructions, neglecting this pivotal distinction. The alchemical furnace could evenly distribute heat, precisely control temperature fluctuations, and utilize its intrinsic runic formations to assist in the fusion of medicinal properties. In contrast, while the clay pot could also withstand heat, its distribution was uneven. During the alchemical process, some herbs might not have been fully cooked, while others were already burnt. Moreover, the clay pot lacked the ability to effectively gather and direct the medicinal energy as the furnace could. The valuable medicinal properties contained within those herbs could not blend and transcend into their ideal state under the uneven heat, ultimately leading to the failure of this batch of elixirs. Su Chao gazed at the heap of herbal residue and sighed deeply. He understood that to succeed in alchemy using a clay pot, he must address the challenges of gathering and directing the medicinal energy. After much contemplation, Su Chao resolved to reduce the proportion of the herbs. He took out scissors and snipped off 1/10 of the stems of the meteor grass and the perseverance herb. As he had anticipated, this time the alchemical process proceeded smoothly. When the familiar fragrance of the herbs filled the alchemical chamber, Su Chao joyfully opened the clay pot. However, what should have been a vibrant elixir now appeared shrouded in a layer of dull haze, lacking vitality. He picked up the elixir for a closer examination and let out a gentle sigh. Although the elixir had barely taken shape and possessed some basic medicinal efficacy, both its appearance and intrinsic quality could only be deemed as inferior among the inferior. Originally, an inferior-grade gathering chi elixir could fetch a price of 2,000 for each piece. But the batch Su Chao had concocted was of such abysmal quality that it would scarcely hold any value, even if it were to be sold on the market. It would likely fetch only half its worth. Damn it, the cost of refining the elixir twice exceeds 1,000. Su Chao could not help but mutter curses under his breath. Gazing at this subpar pill, he was overwhelmed with frustration. However, he was fortunate to possess 6 more sets of materials. He had spent around 6,000 on materials during the early hours. As long as he maintained this standard, there would still be a profit to be made. Chapter 11, Su Chao's fast sale of elixirs. In the ensuing 6 hours, Su Chao meticulously refined the remaining 6 ingredients into elixirs. During the final concoction, fortune favored him as he successfully produced a low-grade gathering chi powder. This particular powder could fetch a price of 2,000. His alchemical prowess allowed him to create 1 elixir per hour, culminating in an impressive total of 2,000 earned over the span of 8 hours. This significantly surpassed the earnings from any part-time job. Suddenly, a series of knocks on the door interrupted Su Chao's reverie, which had been steeped in the joy of his achievements. Chapter 12, Taking a break from school to devote oneself to alchemy. Su Chao nodded vigorously, his face brimming with gratitude. Lu Gu, I cannot thank you enough. In the future, should there be any treasures, I shall be the first to deliver them to you. With your assurance, I can rest easy, dear brother. Old Lu chuckled heartily, giving Su Chao's shoulder a hearty pat. As the clock struck midnight, the night was as dark as ink, enveloping the entire city in a shroud of mystery. Su Chao once again ventured into the black market, however, this time fortune did not favor him as it had the previous day. This time, he. Chapter 13, The Astonishment of Old Man Zhao. Is this lad a monster? In the afternoon, Su Chao devoted 3 hours to concocting 3 low-grade qi gathering pills once more, including the 3 he had prepared in the morning. He now possessed a total of 6 qi gathering pills in his hand. As Wang Shan had yet to finish school, Su Chao ventured alone to Old Lu's shop. Upon entering the store, Su Chao immediately spotted Old Lu seated behind the counter, engrossed in the pages of a magazine. Hearing the commotion, Old Lu lifted his gaze and, upon seeing Su Chao, his face instantly brightened with a smile. Su, my friend, what brings you here so early today? Su Chao approached with a smile, retrieving something from his pocket. Chapter 14, A Brief Introduction to the Purity of Spiritual Roots. Su Chao steadied himself, inwardly lamenting the old man's heavy-handedness. Yet his face remained adorned with a courteous smile. How could I possibly fear you, Grandfather Zhao? If there is nothing else, I shall proceed to the library to read. Grandfather Zhao snorted coldly. What is there to admire in the tattered books of the library? They are merely foundational texts. If you wish to learn about alchemy, you may seek me out. I possess considerable expertise in this domain. Su Chao inclined his body slightly, maintaining his polite demeanor. Grandfather Zhao, I truly appreciate your kindness. And I am well aware of your profound knowledge in alchemy. However, Chapter 15, the quality and efficiency of alchemy are significantly enhanced. Taking the absorption of spiritual energy as an example. Heavenly roots with a purity ranging from 0 to 20 absorb spiritual energy at a rate of 400 to 420 compared to inferior roots. In contrast, heavenly roots with a purity of 80 to 100 absorb spiritual energy at an astonishing rate of 480 to 500. This illustrates the disparity represented by the purity of spiritual roots. Currently, purity is classified into 5 levels. A purity of 0 to 20 is categorized as 5th grade heavenly roots, 20 to 40 purity as 4th grade heavenly roots, then 40 to 60 purity as 3rd grade heavenly roots. Chapter 16, Cultivating Fire Attribute Techniques. He paused momentarily, then cheerfully declared, My dear brother, I assure you, I have no intention of deceiving you. For the 25 mid-grade qi gathering pills you have crafted, I shall offer you a sum of 110,000 directly. You invested 5,000 in materials for your alchemy, and I shall waive that expense as a token of my appreciation for your talents. Su Chao's face brightened with a sincere smile as he replied, Thank you, Brother Lu. In the future, I will certainly seek you out first when I have goods to offer. After Old Lu inspected the elixirs within the jade vial, he promptly proceeded with the transaction. Chapter 17, Su Chao breaks through to the first level of qi refinement. Su Chao was momentarily taken aback, his gaze lingering on the young girl for several seconds as the gears of memory began to turn slowly. Soon, a look of realization emerged on his face. This girl was named Zhang Xie, and they had previously been classmates. After awakening her exceptional spiritual roots, she had transferred to the elite class. Su Chao politely inquired, I am searching for the Li Huoju, may I ask if you have seen it? Zhang Xie blinked her eyes, a playful smile dancing on her lips as she responded, The Li Huoju, I seem to recall something about it. Perhaps you should check over to the left. Chapter 18, Settling all debts and being targeted. He clenched his fists, feeling the surging spiritual energy within him, and a smile involuntarily crept across his lips. Having successfully transcended to the first layer of qi refinement, he had officially entered the ranks of cultivators. Although he was merely the most rudimentary of practitioners, he was still a cultivator. Following this breakthrough, He mused that his efficiency in concocting qi gathering pills would undoubtedly improve significantly. After all, having ascended to the first layer of qi refinement. Not only had his physical constitution enhanced, but his mental acuity had also become more formidable and keen. Previously, he could produce a maximum of 10 qi gathering pills in a day, but now, it was conceivable that he could achieve even more. Chapter 19, Attempting to refine the gathering spirit pill. Brother Su, what brings you back? Upon seeing Su Chao return shortly after departing, Old Lu's face registered a hint of surprise. Su Chao's expression was grave as he hastened to Old Lu's side and spoke in a low voice, "Lugu, I have encountered trouble." Old Lu furrowed his brow tightly, inquiring, "What has transpired?" "Please, take your time." Su Chao then recounted the events that had just unfolded. After listening, Old Lu's countenance darkened further, and with a cold snort, he remarked that Abao has truly grown increasingly arrogant, disregarding even the most basic rules. Chapter 20, The Successful Refinement of the Gathering Spirit Pill. Old Lu furrowed his brow slightly, a hint of helplessness etched upon his face. "I possess only a limited supply of blood spirit mushrooms, merely 5 in total. If you wish to practice your alchemy, you will need to venture into the black market. Should you desire to purchase these 5 blood spirit mushrooms, I can offer them to you for a bundled price of 20,000. The market price for a single blood spirit mushroom is 5,000. And Old Lu's decision to sell all 5 to Su Chao for 20,000 stems from a desire to cultivate goodwill. Su Chao's rapid advancement in alchemical skills is remarkable. Within just half a month, he has begun refining the gathering spirit pill, indicating a future of boundless potential. Establishing a favorable rapport with him is undoubtedly advantageous. Su Chao clasped his hands in gratitude. Chapter 21, An unexpected delight at the black market. As Su Chao ascended to the second floor, he was greeted by the sight of a familiar figure engrossed in a rare tome at a nearby bookshelf. Upon sensing movement behind her, she paused, gradually turning to face him. Her long, inky hair cascaded loosely over her shoulders, framing a delicate visage adorned with elegantly arched brows. Recognizing Su Chao, a captivating smile graced her lips as she spoke. "Su Chao, my Ling Shuangbing Xianju is on the verge of breaking through to the second level. To what stage have you advanced your Li Huoju?" Su Chao's brows furrowed. Chapter 22, The Predicament Faced by Wang Shan. With assistance from Su Chao extended 3 fingers and said, "Boss, 30,000 is the highest price I can offer. Any more, and I simply cannot bear it. I will have to reluctantly let it go." As he spoke, he pretended to set down the herbs in his hand. The vendor's expression shifted slightly, a flicker of hesitation crossing his eyes. Although he had inflated the herbs' value, he was uncertain of their true worth. Initially, he had intended to take full advantage of Su Chao, but if they could not reach an agreement on the price, it would indeed be a pity for this business deal to fall through. Chapter 23, Resolving Wang Shan's troubles. Su Chao owes a favor. Wang Shan inclined his head slightly, remaining silent for a considerable time, as if engaged in an intense internal struggle. Ultimately, he gave a gentle nod. Su Chao hurriedly led Wang Shan to a nearby tobacco and alcohol specialty store. Su Chao's gaze swiftly scanned the surroundings, directing him toward the section displaying premium spirits and cigars. As he made his selections, he turned to the still hesitant Wang Shan beside him and remarked, "We must visit Brother Lu. These offerings cannot be lacking, for we must be thorough in our etiquette." Wang Shan nodded faintly, his eyes somewhat distant, his mind still racing with apprehension. Chapter 24, A haggling for the alchemy furnace. The price of an ordinary first-tier lower-grade alchemy furnace is well established, yet my furnace, though appearing second-hand, possesses a remarkable history. It was once utilized by a master alchemist, imbued with the essence of the spirit. The quality of the elixirs produced is elevated, and this value cannot merely be gauged by its age. Su Chao wore an expression of disbelief. He had just claimed it was a family heirloom, only to now assert that it carries the aura of a master. This old man would fabricate any tale to inflate the price. Su Chao gestured with his hand, signaling with a figure 8, his tone laden with skepticism. Chapter 25, Zhang Xie's disappointment, useless Su Chao. What are you arguing about? At that moment, a crisp and cool voice echoed from downstairs. Everyone turned to glance down the staircase, where a graceful woman was slowly ascending. The leading man was momentarily taken aback upon seeing her, but then a fawning smile spread across his face. Sister Xie. This Su Chao is utterly ignorant of his own insignificance, causing trouble here. We are in the process of teaching him a lesson. Zhang Xie slightly furrowed her delicate brows. A hint of displeasure flickering in her eyes as she cast a cold glance at Su Chao and the leading man, her voice icy. Chapter 26, The hunt begins. Should the opponent be a cultivator, Su Chao intended to bide his time and cultivate discreetly. Once he had amassed sufficient strength, he would send the entire family to the netherworld for a reunion. This applied not only to Wu Junfeng but also to Lu Xiaochuan. Su Chao possessed a system that allowed for gradual development, rendering unnecessary any reckless actions that might plunge him into peril. The realm of cultivation has always been fraught with deception and treachery. Without a formidable backing, excessive brilliance would only lead to a cruel demise. In the ensuing days, Su Chao successfully advanced his cultivation to the third level of qi refinement, while his savings surpassed 3 million. Chapter 27, The tragic demise of Wu Junfeng's parents. The youth appeared gaunt, clad in a somewhat faded black hooded sweatshirt, the hood shrouding his head and casting shadows that concealed much of his face. Only his eyes, glimmering with a chilling light in the dimness, were discernible. The portly man, momentarily taken aback, slurred his words in a drunken stupor, questioning, What are you doing here, kid? You startled me." The boy offered no response, instead slowly advancing towards him. The man's unease grew, as the boy's silent demeanor rekindled the remnants of his inebriation, stirring a sense of trepidation within him. Chapter 28, Two places to enhance practical experience. After a lengthy pause, he finally managed to stammer out a few words. What did you say?" "Impossible." He suddenly sprang to his feet, gripping Qin Chuan's shoulders with such force that his fingers turned white from the pressure. His eyes, reddened with anguish, shouted, "You must be mistaken. My parents could never be killed." Tears, as large as beans, cascaded uncontrollably down his cheeks, and his body began to tremble slightly. His legs grew weak, and he nearly collapsed back into his chair. This cannot be true. Qin Chuan's expression was. Chapter 29, The first battle in the martial arena, 9 consecutive victories for the Devourer King. Su Chao nodded slightly, lost in contemplation. Entering the martial arena entails facing human opponents, where the combat rules are relatively clear-cut. It provides a relatively safe environment to rapidly enhance one's combat skills and hone battle awareness, with the potential to gain some notoriety. However, venturing directly into the beast forest, though fraught with uncertainty and peril, offers immense treasures within the beasts. Should one succeed in a hunt, the rewards could be substantial. More importantly, in such a treacherous environment, where the threat of death looms at every turn. Chapter 30, Advancing to Bronze Warrior. Facing a formidable opponent with a resounding crash, their fists collided, and spiritual energy surged forth, causing the protective barrier surrounding the arena to tremble slightly. The ghostly-faced man, known as the Rakshasa, let out a muffled grunt, staggering backward several steps before regaining his footing, his eyes flashing with a mix of astonishment and fury. "Not bad, young one. But this is where it ends," roared the king of devourers. No sooner had his words left his lips than flames erupted around him, transforming him into a moving volcano. The scorching heat washed over the arena. Fiery divine fist. With a thunderous cry, his right arm was instantly enveloped in an inferno. Chapter 31, There are no fools in the immortal realm. Upon witnessing the situation, Su Chao exhibited no hesitation and immediately summoned the fire spirit energy within him. In an instant, a roaring inferno enveloped his entire being. As the flames made contact with the icy chains, a series of hissing sounds filled the air, and copious amounts of vapor ascended, shrouding the arena in a mist. Although the icy chains were formidable, they began to rapidly melt under the scorching blaze. The once crystalline links revealed numerous fractures, transforming into droplets of water that cascaded down. Ling Shuang, the Sword Princess, furrowed her brow. Taken aback by Su Chao's overwhelming fire spirit energy, which could so swiftly contend with her own. Chapter 32, Attempting to refine a mid-grade pill. This is the true essence of the cultivation world. There are no eternal weaklings, nor is there absolute safety. Each individual harbors their own calculations, resorting to any means necessary in pursuit of survival and opportunity. I have been too merciful. Reflecting on the fact that I spared my opponents after defeating them. Su Chao contemplated inwardly. If one of them were to be an old fox, feigning weakness to preserve their strength, waiting for me to lower my guard before striking back, it would spell my doom. The cultivation realm is fraught with peril at every turn. There is no room for complacency. It seems I must cultivate humility and restraint from now on. Chapter 33, Gathering Materials. Old Lu scratched his head thoughtfully and remarked, "This Zhu old man is not particularly fond of wealth, rather. He is captivated by the collection of ancient texts and fragments of extraordinary artifacts. If you could manage to find such rare items to present to him, it might just pique his interest and help strengthen your bond." Su Chao furrowed his brow slightly, responding, "Such items are exceedingly elusive. The chance of encountering them is slim to none. Brother Lu, the ancient texts and artifact fragments are far too difficult to procure. Moreover, even if I were to find them, why would I gift them to him when I could benefit from them myself?" Old Lu shrugged. Chapter 34, Successfully Refining the Swift Spirit Pill and Proceeding to the College Entrance Examination Registration Venue. The two primary materials were procured from Old Lu for 20,000, while the Bailonhua was acquired on the black market for 10,000. Additionally, 20,000 was spent on spirit honey and 10,000 on ice honey. The total cost reached 60,000, whereas a single inferior swift spirit pill is valued at 100,000. Consequently, the profit from this batch of swift spirit pills amounted to 40,000. Had the two primary materials not been purchased from Old Lu, he would have likely faced a loss. He had recently observed that the market price for the two main medicinal herbs at the trading farm had soared to 30,000. While the price for the auxiliary herb, Bailonhua, had also surged to 20,000. In the future, if he continues to refine the swift spirit pill. Chapter 35, The Arrival of the College Entrance Examination. Young man, it is not yet the time for the college entrance examination. Your early arrival serves no purpose, remarked a middle-aged man as he rose to address Su Chao. Su Chao nodded slightly. "I understand. I am here to participate in the examination at my own expense." The middle-aged man paused for a moment, the flicker of surprise gleaming in his eyes. Self-funded participation. How unusual. Typically, at the moment of awakening one's spiritual roots and comprehension, an individual's future path is already predetermined. Though there are indeed instances of individuals who, after awakening, accumulate knowledge and skills over time, such cases are exceedingly rare. Chapter 36, 1 Minute to Victory, Securing the First Level with Full Marks. Their gaze swept across the crowd, and one of the examiners from the military raised a loudspeaker, proclaiming, "Attention, candidates. There are 30 minutes remaining until the examination commences. Please enter the examination hall in an orderly fashion, avoiding any rush." The sound resonated far and wide through the loudspeaker, ensuring that every individual present could hear it distinctly. Instantly, a ripple of commotion spread through the crowd. Some candidates hurriedly checked their belongings while others hastened towards the entrance. Su Chao and Wang Shan exchanged a glance and, following the flow of people, steadily advanced forward. Chapter 37 captivated Qin Chuan's attention. The demonic beast, sensing the cataclysmic force, finally displayed a visage of terror, attempting to turn and flee. However, how could Su Chao's all-out strike permit such an easy escape? The fire dragon swiftly caught up with the beast, enveloping it entirely. In an instant, flames roared and the creature let out anguished howls, desperately thrashing in the inferno. Its fur ignited in an instant, releasing a nauseating stench of charred flesh, while its massive form quivered under the relentless heat. Within a brief moment, the once mighty sixth-tier chi refining beast fell silent. Chapter 38, Linyu's self-perception. Su Chao remained blissfully unaware that his every action had been scrutinized by others. At this moment, he approached the second tier of the assessment with an invigorated spirit. The two examiners at this level, both hailing from the inspection department, greeted him in unison upon his entrance. Su Chao responded with a courteous smile and a nod. As he advanced a few paces, a luminous screen unexpectedly materialized before him, displaying a plethora of intricate text detailing the rules of this stage of the evaluation. Su Chao leaned in closer to read attentively. Second stage, comprehension test. Complete any task within a day. Chapter 39, the subtle confrontation with Qin Chuan within the confines of the second level. Two examiners from the inspection department, upon regaining their composure, sought to entice Su Chao. One of the examiners, a robust figure, approached with a warm smile, clapping Su Chao on the shoulder with a friendly demeanor. "My young friend, your performance in today's examination was truly astonishing. With your talents and capabilities, should you choose to join our inspection department, you would undoubtedly shine brilliantly, paving the way for an illustrious future. Our department has always placed great value on talent, providing ample resources and a smooth path for advancement. Should you decide to join us, your future achievements are assured." Chapter 40, the gambit of the fourth-level examiner. In the face of the onslaught from all directions, Su Chao remained utterly composed. A torrent of fire essence surged around him, coalescing into a blazing shield that instantaneously evaporated the encroaching toxic mist. Without hesitation, Su Chao stamped his foot on the ground, propelling himself skyward like a cannonball, effortlessly evading the piercing stone spikes below. In midair, he executed a deft somersault, his gaze firmly fixed on the shadowy adversary that approached with ferocity. At this moment, Su Chao channeled the energy within him, decisively invoking the sixth layer of the Li Huoju, Burning Sky Fury. In an instant, Chapter 41, Level 5. The slender examiner, intrigued, inquired, "How would you like to wager?" The portly examiner pondered for a moment before responding, "Let us wager a month's salary. If that young man scores above 10 in the 6th round, you shall give me a month's salary. If he fails to achieve that score, I will give you mine. What do you say? Are you bold enough to take this bet?" The slender examiner's lips curled into a confident smile as he replied, "Humph, why would I hesitate? It is settled then. I am eager to see how this underprivileged lad with mediocre talent fares." Chapter 42, the final challenge bestowed by heaven upon Su Chao. As Su Chao completed the examination questions, he felt a sudden shift, and the entire scene transformed instantaneously. The once tranquil assessment venue vanished, replaced by the vibrant atmosphere of an authentic medicinal herb garden. A gentle breeze caressed the air, carrying the delicate fragrance of spiritual herbs that danced around his senses. In the center of the garden stood a rare spiritual herb, shimmering with an enchanting glow under the sun's radiant embrace, while the surrounding ordinary herbs encircled it like stars orbiting a celestial body. Not far away, the disciple with an anxious expression implored Su Chao fervently, "I beg you. My loved one is in grave danger, and only." Chapter 43, Su Chao achieves full marks. Wu Junfeng revokes college entrance examination qualifications. It was indeed a stroke of fortune for Su Chao. Although elated within, he maintained a facade of tranquility on his face. He turned to Li Jingliang and offered a slight nod, saying, "I am grateful for your generous support mentally. But I believe it is prudent to discuss my admission to Zhongnan Academy after the 6th assessment." Li Jingliang furrowed his brow slightly. He had looked into Su Chao's background. The progress Su Chao had made thus far was a testament to both his exceptional talent and immense diligence. It was implausible for him to have the time to pursue other professions. In Li Jingliang's view, Su Chao had no advantages in the upcoming specialized vocational test of the 6th assessment. Chapter 44, the recruitment of various universities. The imposing examiner, upon witnessing the scene, felt a sudden chill in his gaze and spoke in a grave tone, "Wu Junfeng, you persist in your misdeeds, brazenly disrupting the examination order. I hereby officially declare the cancellation of your examination eligibility. Leave this place at once." However, Wu Junfeng remained unfazed, incessantly cursing under his breath. The Bali examiner's brow furrowed in disbelief, taken aback by Wu Junfeng's audacity to continue causing a disturbance even after being explicitly informed of his disqualification. His expression darkened further, and a surge of spiritual energy enveloped him as he prepared to impart a stern lesson to Wu Junfeng. With a swift motion of his hand, he summoned forth. Chapter 45: Making a choice to apply to the Great Seer Academy. Condition 1: an initial funding of 100,100,000 inferior spiritual stones, along with 3 volumes of third-tier cultivation techniques presented upon enrollment, in addition to 1 million PAL Academy points. Condition 2: achieving a breakthrough in the foundation establishment stage during the second year grants 1 billion in funding, 1 million middle-grade spiritual stones, 1 volume of third-tier cultivation technique, along with 1 million PAL Academy points. Condition 3: achieving a breakthrough in the Purple Mansion stage during the third year provides 10 billion in funding, 10,000 middle-grade spiritual stones, 1 volume of 4th-tier cultivation technique, along with 10 million PAL Academy points. Condition 3-4: achieving a breakthrough in the Golden Elixir stage during the third year allows the choice of a 4th-tier weapon. Chapter 46: The purity of the fire spirit root is elevated to 100. The portly examiner, Sun Kaishan, was momentarily taken aback, only to be soon adorned with a broad smile. "Ha ha, my young friend Su, your request is entirely reasonable. After all, when it comes to receiving resources and storing items, possessing a storage ring is indeed much more convenient. How about this? I, Sun Kaishan, shall take the liberty of granting you a mid-grade storage ring." As he spoke, he began rummaging through his own storage ring once more, and after a short while, he produced a ring of archaic design. Do not be deceived by its unassuming exterior. The interior space is quite ample, boasting several thousand cubic units. While handing over the ring, the corpulent examiner, Sun Kaishan, continued. Chapter 47: Returning to the school library. Selecting second-tier techniques, he possessed the qualifications to choose an ordinary book, yet the abundance of options left him in a state of indecision. Su Chao pondered briefly, then fixed his earnest gaze upon Wang Shon. "Old Wang, given your academic performance, I would recommend you consider Zhongnan University. It is a reputable institution within our province, with commendable strength." Wang Shon hesitated. "But I haven't met the admission score for Zhongnan University." Su Chao paused momentarily, then responded with a confident smile, "The issue of insufficient scores is not entirely insurmountable. Zhongnan University offers certain opportunities each year." Chapter 48: House exchange. Time passed moment by moment. Half an hour later, at last, nestled within a relatively concealed lower shelf of a bookcase, an ancient tome entitled The Earth Spirit Technique caught his eye. Su Chao's eyes sparkled with delight as he hurriedly crouched down to carefully extract this manual. Upon opening the antiquated cover, a wave of musty yet profound energy enveloped him. The pages were yellowed, yet the inscriptions remained vividly discernible. Eagerly, Su Chao began to peruse the contents, discovering detailed accounts of the circulation pathways of Earth-type spiritual power, the nuances of defensive techniques, and guidance on harnessing the grand. Chapter 49: Breaking through the 9th layer of Qi refinement. As she spoke, she guided Su Chao and his family towards the adjacent display area, where detailed floor plans and renderings of several standalone villas were displayed. "You see," she remarked, "these designs each possess distinctive features, from spatial layout to decorative details. The natural lighting indoors is exceptional, and the functional zoning of the rooms is well considered, ensuring that both leisure and daily living are thoroughly accommodated. The surrounding environment is equally commendable, with lush greenery, fresh air, and a tranquil ambience. It is an ideal setting for your parents to enjoy their golden years." Upon hearing this, Su's father could not help but lean in closer. Chapter 50: Mastery of 2 second-order techniques. Su Chao was enveloped in blazing flames. Resembling a phoenix reborn from ashes, his aura increasingly formidable. After an indeterminate span of time, Su Chao abruptly opened his eyes, 2 dazzling beams of fire erupting from within. With a swift gesture, he sent forth a flame from his fingertips, which instantly transformed in midair into a soaring fire phoenix. emitting a melodious cry before gracefully spiraling several times and gradually dissipating. Within the span of 3 hours, he successfully advanced the Flame Sutra to the 4th level. Yet, this was merely the beginning. Over the course of the following day, Su Chao continued to elevate the Flame Sutra to the 5th and 6th levels. Chapter 51, The Girl Demon Hunting Team. Upon this thought, Su Chao made his way to Brother Lu's furniture store. As he stepped inside, he spotted Brother Lu leisurely seated at a table in the corner, engrossed in a magazine. "Brother Lu!" Su Chao exclaimed, striding over with a beaming smile. Brother Lu looked up, momentarily taken aback upon recognizing Su Chao, but soon his face lit up with a broad grin as he gestured for him to sit. "Su Chao, what brings you here? You've become quite the celebrity." Su Chao promptly took a seat opposite Brother Lu, chuckling as he replied, "Brother Lu, I came to see you this time." Chapter 52, Passing the Assessment. Is it true that if I withstand 3 of your strikes, I shall be permitted to join your ranks? Su Chao inquired, maintaining a calm demeanor as he gazed at the imposing man before him. The robust figure nodded affirmatively. "Indeed." Su Chao replied coolly, "Then let us commence." With a sinister grin, the burly man suddenly moved, his form darting towards Su Chao like a phantom. Rather than retreating, Su Chao chose to confront the challenge head-on, channeling his internal energy into earth-based power and invoking the thick earth spirit defense technique. In an instant, a formidable shield of earthy yellow energy enveloped him, akin to an impregnable fortress. Chapter 53, The Kidnapping of Parents. Su Chao's fury. "May I inquire about your name?" "Young sir, I am Chen Changa, the captain of the Swiftwind Demon Hunter Squad," the young man replied with a smile, extending his hand. Su Chao reciprocated the gesture. "Su Chao." Upon hearing Su Chao introduce himself, Chen Changa furrowed his brow slightly, feeling an unsettling familiarity with the name. Within the recesses of his mind, a mist seemed to cloud his thoughts, with elusive clues weaving in and out, yet he was unable to grasp the essence of it. Instinctively, he stroked his chin, his gaze sweeping up and down Su Chao, attempting to discern any further insights from him. Chapter 54, Rescuing Parents. Slaying Wu Junfeng. He could endure anything, but when it came to his parents, there was no possibility for compromise. Vivid memories of warm moments spent with his parents flooded Su Chao's mind, laughter and care woven into the fabric of ordinary days, now serving as the fuel for his rage. He clenched his fists, the knuckles turning white from the pressure, his nails nearly embedding themselves into his palms, yet he remained oblivious to the pain. "Liu Xiaochuan, Wu Junfeng. If a single hair on my parents' heads is harmed, I will ensure your entire family pays the price." Su Chao growled softly, his voice, though barely audible, resonated with boundless malice. Chapter 55, Journey to the Beast Forest. The First Monster Hunt. Su Chao, filled with self-reproach, lamented, "It is all my fault. I should have anticipated that they would resort to violence against you. I ought to have arranged for your protection in advance." His mother gently caressed Su Chao's face, speaking with warmth and resolve. "Xiao Chao, this is not your fault. Who could have predicted the treachery of those wicked individuals? Your timely arrival to rescue us is already a blessing from above." His father chimed in from the side, "Indeed, my son. Do not bear the weight of this responsibility alone." Su Chao clenched his teeth and tightened his fists, declaring, "Mom and Dad, this time we escaped with mere fright. But I cannot." Chapter 56, The Change of Plans. With that, he stomped his feet forcefully upon the ground, soaring into the air. His great blade infused with an overwhelming surge of spiritual energy. A serpentine bolt of lightning coiled around the blade, accompanied by a dazzling radiance, as the mighty sword descended with tremendous force upon the blood-maned demon wolf. The air crackled with the sound of electricity, resonating like thunderclaps. The blood-maned demon wolf, sensing the cataclysmic power emanating from the strike, momentarily flickered with a hint of fear in its once ferocious gaze. It exerted every ounce of strength to evade the impending blow, yet the momentum of the thunderous blade had already ensnared it completely. Chapter 57, Two Greenwood Vines. Danger approaches. The group gradually ventured into the ridge, the fallen leaves beneath their feet rustling softly as if whispering secrets of an unknown creature. Suddenly, Zhang Liang, who was leading the way, raised his hand to signal everyone to halt. His gaze was fixed intently on a thicket not far ahead, and he murmured, "Look over there. It seems there is some movement." Instantly, the group held their breath, their attention wholly captivated by the dense bushes. They could see several emerald green vines stealthily emerging from the thicket, writhing and twisting as if in search of something. "It is the greenwood vine," Chen Chonga whispered. Chapter 58, Su Chao strikes, leaving everyone astonished. Chen Chonga was forcefully propelled backward by the retaliatory shockwave, blood gushing from his mouth. Fortunately, his desperate strike had torn a significant gash in the verdant net, momentarily rendering it incapable of posing a lethal threat to the group. However, at that very moment, the first of the encircled Qingmu vines launched its own assault. Its tendrils slithered like agile venomous serpents, darting toward the crowd with astonishing swiftness. These tendrils not only moved with remarkable speed but also possessed formidable resilience, adorned with sharp barbs that glimmered with a chilling radiance under the sun. Chapter 59, Even the beasts exhibit such composure. Taking advantage of this fleeting moment, the tree demon at the first level of Foundation establishment stealthily approached Su Chao from the side. Countless slender vines, akin to concealed weapons, shot forth with deadly precision, aimed directly at Su Chao's vital points. With a cold grunt, Su Chao summoned the power of earth elemental energy. Instantly, the ground around him surged upward, forming a robust earthen wall that enveloped him securely. The incoming vines collided with the wall, producing a series of dull thuds, leaving only faint marks before falling helplessly to the ground. Observing this, the pinnacle tree demon roared in fury, unleashing even thicker and more formidable vines from its massive form. Chapter 60, The Thunder Prison's Purple Spirit. It is not so easy to escape. Su Chao gritted his teeth as he uttered these words. He unleashed the technique of gale phantom steps, lightly tapping the ground with his feet. In an instant, his figure transformed into a series of blood phantoms, darting and leaping through the forest. His silhouette flickered, stirring up gusts of wind, rapidly closing the distance between him and the two tree demons. Sensing Su Chao's relentless pursuit from behind, the two tree demons grew increasingly frantic. The little tree demon trembled in fear, its branches and leaves quivering in unison, as it cried out to the elder tree demon, "Uncle Sun, what shall we do? We cannot escape." Chapter 61, The Woman of Uncommon Origin. Do not presume to dictate my actions. The woman in the black robe bellowed, as she thrust her hands forward with great force. The wood spirit energy surged dramatically, causing the already robust vines to grow uncontrollably, rushing toward the purple orchid with an overwhelming force. Each vine shimmered with a chilling luster, as if forged from steel, and wherever they passed, the air was shredded, emitting a piercing shriek. In response, the purple orchid did not retreat. Instead, arcs of lightning danced around her, and a tremendous, fierce energy erupted from within her being, having long been accompanied by the lightning spirit of the Thunder Prison. She had already absorbed the essence of the lightning attribute. Chapter 62, Two individuals with 800 perceptive eyes. The vibrant flames, under the control of the woman in the black robe, surged forward like a wild beast, engulfing the orchid in an inferno with overwhelming force. In but a fleeting moment, the orchid was reduced to a mere pile of ashes. The swirling ashes danced in the searing air, resembling a reluctant soul making its final struggle. The once rich fragrance had vanished entirely, leaving only the acrid scent of charred remnants lingering in the atmosphere. After extinguishing the orchid, the woman in the black robe did not seek out Lei Yuxiling but instead turned her gaze toward Su. Chapter 63, A Desperate Struggle. Upon witnessing the unfolding scene, the woman in the black robe furrowed her brow slightly, her hands weaving intricate gestures. The undestroyed vines swiftly interwove, coalescing into a formidable wooden shield that stood resolutely in the path of the advancing fire kirin. As the fire kirin collided with the wooden barrier, a brilliant explosion of light erupted, with flames and the shield locked in a fierce standoff, accompanied by a cacophony of crackling sounds. Seizing this momentary gap, Su Chao unleashed a barrage of fireballs, each varying in size yet brimming with terrifying energy, slicing through the night sky with a piercing howl. Chapter 64, High Risk. High Reward. On the other side, Su Chao found himself in a similarly dire predicament. Encased in an inferno of searing flames. His body felt as if it were ensconced within a blazing furnace. His muscles convulsed uncontrollably, and beads of sweat the size of peas cascaded down his forehead, only to evaporate in midair due to the oppressive heat. Under such extreme temperatures, his bones emitted a mournful creaking, as though they were on the brink of melting away. Su Chao sensed his very organs being roasted by this strange fire, waves of nausea crashing over him like a tempest. Unable to restrain himself, he coughed up a mouthful of blood tinged with the acrid flavor of char. But Chapter 65, Finding the Thunder Prison. Purple Spirit. This region was shrouded in an eerie tranquility, with occasional gusts of chilling wind whispering through, emitting a mournful moan. As if countless eyes were lurking in the shadows, observing him. As he ventured deeper, the surroundings grew increasingly peculiar. The sky was overcast with dense clouds, roiling and swirling, intermittently illuminated by tiny streaks of lightning that darted between the clouds, producing a crackling sound. The Thunder Prison. Purple Spirit typically manifests in environments imbued with the essence of thunder. The bizarre scene before Su Chao led him to feel that he was drawing ever closer to his objective. Su Chao slowed his pace, each step taken with utmost caution. Chapter 66, Awakening of the Thunder Spirit. Root. In that perilous moment, an unexpected surge of resolve coursed through Su Chao, compelling him to consume the Thunder Prison. Purple Spirit in his grasp. In an instant, the entire space seemed to freeze, followed by a tumultuous upheaval. As the Thunder Prison. Purple Spirit entered his abdomen, it detonated within him like a blazing sun. A torrent of ferocious energy surged through his entire being. As if his internal organs had been plunged into a cauldron of boiling oil, the excruciating pain eliciting an involuntary howl of anguish from Su Chao. Simultaneously, the thunderbolt sweeping in from all directions struck his body with relentless force. Chapter 67, Su Chao's Determination. Upon returning to Zhong City, Su Chao could scarcely afford a moment's respite and proceeded directly to Lu Ji's furniture store. Along the way, he encountered numerous exotic beasts, which he believed could fetch a handsome price. As Su Chao stepped into the furniture shop, he was enveloped by a subtle aroma of wood. Liu Gu stood amidst an array of exquisite wooden furnishings, completely engrossed in meticulously examining a newly crafted table and chairs, his brow slightly furrowed. Lu Ji's gaze radiated professionalism and concentration, occasionally brushing his fingers along the edges of the furniture to appreciate its delicate texture. Just then, Chapter 68, Su Chao's Contingency. Su Chao nodded slightly, his expression calm and composed, as if he had everything under control. This aspect, of course, I had anticipated. A faint smile, tinged with a hint of malevolence, graced his lips. Therefore, my true target is not Lu Xiaochuan, but rather his parents. As these words left his mouth, the atmosphere in the room grew exceedingly sinister and frigid. Upon hearing this, old Lu's eyes widened in disbelief, his face betraying an expression of incredulity. While everyone else focused their attention on Lu Xiaochuan, I moved directly against his parents. Chapter 69, The Plan Commences. Lu Xiaochuan's arrogance. Upon returning home, Su Chao sought out his parents. Mom and Dad, I am heading to Kyoto. The moment his parents heard this, a look of concern instantly crossed their faces. His mother hurried to his side, grasping his arm, her eyes brimming with reluctance and anxiety. Xiao Chao, isn't it still before the start of the school term? His father furrowed his brow, his expression grave. Indeed, son, Kyoto is not a small place, it is unfamiliar territory. Su Chao gently clasped his mother's hand, offering reassurance. Mom, it's not about the school starting. Chapter 70, Everything is under control due to the upscale nature of the residential community where Su Chao resided. Access was strictly regulated, and security measures were exceedingly comprehensive. As Lu Xiaochuan and his companions prepared to enter the premises, they were promptly halted. The security guard, sporting a professional smile, politely yet firmly inquired, "Gentlemen, may I ask if you have an appointment?" He continued, Only residents of this community or visitors with prior arrangements are permitted entry. Liu Xiaochuan's expression darkened as he replied curtly, "I am Liu Xiaochuan of the Liu family. Allow us entry." The guard maintained his smile, responding, "I apologize, but even if you were the king of heaven himself, entry cannot be granted without an appointment." Chapter 71, The Downfall of the Liu Family, Part 1. The four men clad in black remained utterly unfazed by the aura emanating from Elder Chen. They had long anticipated that Liu Xiaochuan had brought along a formidable cultivator at the foundation establishment stage, yet they felt no trepidation. The leader of the black-clad men slightly curled his lips, revealing a confidence mark, then fixed his gaze upon Elder Chen, declaring, "Old man, do not presume that merely displaying your foundation establishment prowess will intimidate us. You shall not take anyone away today." Elder Chen furrowed his brow, surprised by the audacity of these men in black. With a cold snort, he responded, "Such arrogance." Chapter 72, The Downfall of the Liu Family, Part 2. It was only when Su Chao approached within a mere step of Liu Hua that he came to a halt. In the next moment, Su Chao was enveloped by a roaring inferno, the orange-red flames dancing and writhing with reckless abandon, illuminating the entire office as if it were midday. The searing heat rapidly radiated outward from Su Chao, warping the air around him and producing a hissing sound. Liu Hua felt an overwhelming wave of scorching heat rush towards him, although he too was a cultivator. The disparity in spiritual power between him and Su Chao was as vast as the chasm between heaven and earth. This torrent of heat bore down upon him like an invisible mountain, rendering him nearly breathless. Chapter 73, The Contest between Su Chao and Qin Chuan. If you dare to take action against us, the consequences will be beyond your capacity to bear. Liu Xiaochuan laughed heartily, his laughter laced with derision. "Beyond our capacity. I am eager to witness what those consequences might entail." At that moment, a sudden roar of engines echoed from a distance, seemingly racing towards their location. As the sound of the approaching vehicles grew louder, a sleek black luxury car came to a sudden halt not far away. The door swung open, and Qin Chuan emerged, his expression dark and brooding. His gaze was as frigid as a winter's blade, surveying the tense atmosphere that enveloped the scene. Chapter 74, The Great Battle Against Qin Chuan's subordinates. Before him stood a middle-aged man, his hair flecked with grey yet meticulously styled. His square face bore an air of composure and authority, while his deep-set eyes glimmered with a piercing intensity, as if capable of discerning the very essence of one's soul. Seated on the sofa, Su Chao's gaze sharpened upon catching sight of the middle-aged man standing behind Secretary Shong, an ominous premonition flooding his heart. "Su Chao, surrender yourself." The middle-aged man spoke coldly, his voice deep and imbued with an undeniable air of command. With arms crossed over his chest, his penetrating gaze fixed intently upon Su Chao, who remained seated on the sofa. Chapter 75, Slaying the Peak Foundation Establishment Cultivator. A glimpse of brilliance. Boom. Boom. With several muffled detonations, the fiery boulders shattered, sending forth a cascade of water splashes. The water dragon, in agony, emitted a deep, resonant roar and momentarily swayed. The middle-aged man furrowed his brow, realizing that he could no longer afford to underestimate his opponent. He intensified his spiritual energy output, causing the chill emanating from the water dragon to deepen, as a thick layer of icy armor formed upon its surface, rendering it increasingly fearsome and menacing. Revitalized, the water dragon surged once more towards Su Chao, its speed surpassing that of before. As it advanced, the air seemed to crystallize, and jagged icicles manifested out of thin air, aiming towards. Chapter 76, Su Chao's resoluteness. After accomplishing all that, Su Chao let out a long breath, his eyes filled with a fierce determination. What a formidable opponent Qin Chuan is, he mused. Had it not been for his spiritual energy rivaling that of the Purple Mansion, he might have truly fallen prey to them this time. It is likely that Qin Chuan did not anticipate that a mere ninth-layer chi refining cultivator could turn the tables on his subordinates at the pinnacle of foundation establishment. The plan can no longer proceed. However, the troubles that need to be addressed must still be confronted. In the recent confrontation with the middle-aged man, those two secretaries should have perished, thus, there should be no eyewitnesses to this affair now. Of course, for the sake of ensuring Chapter 77, Arrival at the Great Xia Academy. 3 days later, Su Chao finally arrived in the capital. Despite the exhausting journey. As he stood on the bustling streets of this city brimming with opportunities and challenges, his fatigue was instantly replaced by excitement and anticipation. The air in the capital was infused with a vibrant spirit of progress, the streets were filled with a steady flow of vehicles, and pedestrians hurried along, each seemingly engrossed in the pursuit of their own dreams. Su Chao took out his phone and dialed Sun Saishun's number. The call was swiftly connected. And he heard Sun Saishun's cheerful voice on the line. "Hello, Su Chao, have you arrived in the capital?" Chapter 78, The New Roommate. As Su Chao completed his registration, Sun Kaishun handed him a card, saying, "This is the Academy's points card. In the Great Xia Academy, points hold significant value. They can be exchanged for various rare cultivation resources, materials for magical artifacts, and even for private guidance from senior mentors within the Academy." Su Chao accepted the points card with a look of curiosity. The card was a deep azure, intricately engraved with elaborate patterns that shimmered enchantingly under the sunlight. Prominently displayed at its center was the value of 1,000,000 points. "Teacher Sun, how do I?" Chapter 79, Encountering Grandfather Zhao. It is evident that Su Chao has uncovered the unique capabilities of the 5 elements mixed spiritual root, otherwise. Not only would he be unable to attain the title of the top scholar in Zhongcheng, but even a breakthrough to the first layer of Qi refinement would be implausible. Sun Qiusheng mused silently. After penning these thoughts, he gradually closed his notebook, returning the fountain pen to his pocket, a contemplative expression gracing his features. Su Chao furrowed his brow and inquired, "What is he doing?" Yang Yongyi elucidated, "He has likely discovered something intriguing. He possesses an insatiable curiosity for research." Su Chao nodded slightly, conceding, "Very well." Chapter 80, Meeting 3 Roommates. The library of the Great Xia Academy operates on a points system. 10,000 points allow one to borrow a second-tier martial arts manual for a day, while 100,000 points permit the borrowing of a third-tier manual for the same duration. Although this may seem exorbitant, it is, in fact, quite reasonable, as all who gain entry into the Great Xia Academy are prodigies. Within a single day, they are capable of memorizing the contents of the manuals. However, memorization does not equate to mastery, which is contingent upon one's innate talent. Some individuals may cultivate to the first level in merely an hour, while others may languish for months without achieving the same. The third-tier manual, Flame Dragon Devouring the World, is more than sufficient for Su Chao. Chapter 81, The Freshman Exchange Competition. Yang Yongyi pondered for a moment and remarked, "Let us allocate based on contributions." Upon receiving the desired answer, Sun Qiusheng nodded in agreement, saying, "All right, I have no objections." Chen Feng promptly added, "I have no issues on my end either." The three then turned their gazes towards Su Chao. Confronted with their attention, Su Chao furrowed his brow and inquired, "What are the stipulations surrounding this freshman exchange competition?" Yang Yongyi cleared his throat, his expression turning earnest as he began to explain, "The freshman exchange competition is no trivial matter. It serves as a grand stage provided by the school for us newcomers." Chapter 82, The Leader of the Sophomores. Brother Lu, the formidable senior, with a face brimming with arrogance, strode confidently towards Qianlong, laughing boisterously as he approached. "Kid, do you now comprehend the disparity?" His gaze then swept over the gathered freshmen, mocking, "A bunch of worthless individuals. And you still aspire to make a name for yourselves in this esteemed institution. Have you any notion of your own capabilities?" At these words, the freshmen were seized by indignation. Each one of them was a prodigy in their own right, revered and held in high esteem back in their hometowns. They had never before endured such humiliation. Among the crowd, a lithe and robust freshman clenched his fists tightly. Chapter 83, Reunion with Chen Feng. In the midst of conversation, Bai Wentian had already eliminated the new student he had been engaged with. With a deft flick of his sword, a brilliant flash of spiritual power surged forth, striking precisely at the chest of his opponent. The new student let out a muffled groan as his protective spiritual energy shattered and dissipated in an instant, sending him hurtling backward several feet before crashing heavily to the ground, rendered incapable of further combat. Had that lad truly perfected his second-tier earth-based cultivation technique? After dispatching his adversary, Bai Wentian swiftly approached Old Ho, who responded with a hint of irritation. If you don't believe me, go ahead and give it a try. You'll find out. Chapter 84, The Convergence of Three. Before the senior could finish his words, Chen Feng unleashed a fireball that had long been prepared. The fireball, enveloped in searing heat, shot forth like a blazing meteor towards the leading senior. This sudden assault caught the adversary off guard, and the arrogance that once adorned his face was swiftly replaced by astonishment. The leading senior hastily sidestepped, narrowly avoiding the fireball as it grazed his shoulder, scorching a large, charred crater into the adjacent wall. The scalding heat rushed forth, causing the onlookers' cheeks to sting from the intense warmth. The other seniors, equally startled, instinctively retreated, disrupting their once orderly formation. Chapter 85, A New Plan. Chen Feng inquired, "Old son, when did you arrive at the rooftop?" San Qiusheng replied nonchalantly, "I came here shortly after parting ways with you all." Su Chao furrowed his brow and asked, "What about Old Yang? He isn't still down there grappling with those seniors, is he?" San Qiusheng shook his head. "I'm uncertain, but given Old Yang's temperament, it's quite probable." Upon hearing this, both Su Chao and Chen Feng sighed in exasperation, their expressions a blend of amusement and disbelief. Yang Yongyi possessed many admirable qualities. He was loyal and steadfast, yet his unwavering straightforwardness often led him into troublesome situations. At that moment, San Qiusheng spoke up. Chapter 86, The Trio. A fireball, accompanied by a torrent of searing heat, collided violently against the shield and the vine armor, unleashing a cataclysmic roar that reverberated through the air. The very fabric of the space appeared to tremble under the force of this impact, as visible shockwaves emanated from the point of collision, spreading outward in concentric circles. Trees along the path were uprooted, stones shattered into fragments, and clouds of dust ascended into the atmosphere. The emerald-hued spiritual shield quivered violently under the barrage of the fireball, its radiance flickering erratically, akin to a candle in the wind on the verge of extinguishment. The vines adorning the armor were instantly scorched by the intense heat, producing a cacophony of crackling sounds. Chapter 87, The Eighth Day of the Sophomore Rankings. The dragon battle. Luo Yi clenched his fist and swung it fiercely through the air, producing a dull thud that mirrored the fury he could no longer contain. He had never endured such humiliation and was determined to make them aware of their grave mistake. Feng Zhengfen gritted his teeth, the muscles on his face twitching in agitation. "Once the exchange competition concludes, I propose we unite with others to lodge a complaint against those three." The other three individuals brightened at this suggestion. It was indeed a brilliant idea. Chen Zhao's eyes glinted with a fierce resolve as he nodded in agreement. "Exactly. We shall ally with those who have also been eliminated by them and collectively exert pressure on the school. I refuse to believe that the institution will remain indifferent." Chapter 88, Is San Qiusheng merely a lucky dog? Before our eyes, the two individuals simultaneously summoned the true flame scripture, and in an instant, searing flames surged around them. The fire, accompanied by a torrent of scorching heat, rushed towards Long Zhon, distorting the very fabric of space in its wake. Long Zhon narrowed his eyes slightly, sensing the formidable power contained within the flames, yet he remained unperturbed. Shantian Water Talisman. He let out a cold snort as the speed of his hand seals accelerated dramatically, reciting incantations with fervor. In that moment, a translucent, shimmering water curtain, radiating an ethereal blue light, materialized out of thin air, enveloping him entirely. Chapter 89, The Elimination of Long Zhon and the Final Ranking Battle. As both participants launched their attacks simultaneously, San Qiusheng was not idle. He too unleashed the technique known as the Wood Jade Art. Indeed, he possessed a heavenly grade wood spirit root, and his mastery of the Wood Jade Art had reached perfection. In an instant, robust and flourishing vines, emanating powerful waves of spiritual energy, surged forth from all directions. These vines, akin to those forged from steel, glimmered with a lustrous sheen, each containing a terrifying force. San Qiusheng's vines intertwined seamlessly with Chen Feng's, enveloping Long Zhon in what seemed like a verdant prison. Chapter 90, The Strength of Sun Chusheng. Within the esteemed academy, numerous students regard him as a beacon of aspiration and idol, yearning for a day when they might bask in similar glory. The senior female students hold him in particularly high esteem. Those who typically exude an air of superiority and dismiss countless suitors with disdain find their gazes softening in the presence of Lu Xun, either shyly lowering their eyes or boldly casting flirtatious glances. Some even go so far as to humble themselves, ingeniously orchestrating encounters with Lu Xun. It is amidst such exceptional brilliance that this paragon of talent deems it necessary to personally test his mettle. Chapter 91, The Next March of Lu Xun. The Qingmu beast's claw landed heavily upon the chest of the freshman. With a muffled groan, the student was sent flying like a severed kite, blood gushing from his mouth, tracing a long arc in the air. Upon hitting the ground, he struggled to rise, only to discover several ribs were broken and his internal organs severely injured, rendering him incapable of further combat. This sudden strike from Sun Chusheng not only disrupted the enemy's rhythm of attack but also instilled a sense of shock among the others. They had not anticipated that Sun Chusheng, who had remained mostly silent, was also a formidable opponent. Chapter 92, Chen Feng's hidden card. In response to Su Chao's inquiry, Chen Feng gently shook his head, expressing uncertainty, yet he was willing to give it a try. You take the lead in the attack, while Lao San and I will provide support, Su Chao declared with unwavering determination. At that moment, they were confronted with an exceedingly challenging battle. Their adversaries possessed formidable strength, making conventional tactics likely ineffective. Chen Feng nodded slightly, and in the next instant, he ceased to conceal his aura, allowing the formidable energy of his third layer of foundation establishment to surge forth. A radiant glow enveloped his body, and a powerful, ancient aura of spiritual energy emanated from him, expanding outward in all directions, causing the surrounding air to tremble. Chapter 93, The Final Hope. Just as Lu Xun prepared to deliver a lethal blow to Chen Feng, tendrils suddenly emerged from the ground. These tendrils were robust and resilient, their surfaces adorned with a fine layer of soft hairs, emitting a faint green luminescence. They burst forth from all directions, swiftly entwining around Lu Xun. He hastily ceased his attack on Chen Feng, retreating rapidly in an attempt to evade the unexpected tendrils. However, these tendrils seemed to possess a will of their own, relentlessly pursuing him, weaving into a vast green net in midair. Chapter 94, The Ominous Sign of Lu Xun. In this critical moment, Chen Feng did not disappoint the two. He understood the urgency of the situation, which allowed for not a moment's hesitation. Suddenly, an aura of determination and confidence enveloped him, his feet firmly planted on the ground as he swiftly formed hand seals. In the next instant, the surrounding spiritual energy appeared to be drawn toward him, converging rapidly to create visible whirlpools of energy. Miraculous transformation of the ancient wood, Chen Feng shouted with fervor. In that instant, the heavens and earth shifted in hue, transforming the already tense atmosphere. Chapter 95, The Extraordinary Fire vs. Dual Anomalies. Old Chen, don't be impulsive, Su Chao hurriedly intervened upon witnessing the scene. Chen Feng shook his head. Old Su, I have made up my mind, I will no longer conceal my intentions. Observing the resolute determination in Chen Feng's eyes, Su Chao found his words of caution stifled in his throat. With a resigned sigh, he considered, very well. Though Sun Chusheng remained oblivious to the specifics of their conversation, his sharp intellect quickly deduced that Chen Feng was about to reveal his hidden card. In the next moment, a brilliant conflagration erupted fiercely from within Chen Feng, its flames manifesting in an extraordinary hue of crimson gold. Chapter 96, The Final Strike from Both Sides. Speak, said the resolute Su Chao, his gaze firmly fixed on the approaching Lu Xun, prepared for any eventuality. Chen Feng gritted his teeth and replied swiftly, I will temporarily lend you control over the extraordinary fire. I will assist you while you launch an attack on Lu Xun. Is that feasible, old Chen? I have never wielded such anomalous fire. Su Chao's face momentarily revealed a hint of concern. After all, This formidable force of nature could easily spiral out of control with even the slightest misstep, potentially endangering them further rather than harming Lu Xun. Chapter 97, Stalemate. Its form flickered in the intertwining shadows of lightning, each movement releasing a dense plume of dark mist. Wherever this mist traveled, the very fabric of space appeared to be corroded, creating minute black holes. This malevolent spirit, wielding its hook, harmonized with the terrifying power of the storm, generating an eerie yet formidable aura. In the next moment, Lu Xun unleashed a powerful punch. The lightning energy enveloping the true essence of the malevolent spirit and its soul-reaping manifestation, surging toward Chen Feng and Su Chao like an unstoppable tide. The raging power of the storm seemed to have found its outlet, transforming into countless agile serpents of lightning, shrieking as they surged forward. Chapter 98, The Freshman Exchange Competition, The First to Rise, San Qiusheng. As these words echoed, the eager participants abruptly halted, their faces betraying a hint of hesitation. After all, no one wished to become a mere casualty. At this juncture, the elimination of just one individual was all that stood between them and advancement. It was evident to all that the one who dared to take the initiative might very well find themselves the first to be ousted. San Qiusheng turned to the freshman who had incited the crowd, a sinister smile creeping across his face as he enunciated with deliberate clarity, "Isn't one person still needed? Let us eliminate him." Chapter 99, The Malevolent Intent of Li Xiaoxiao. In Su Chao's heart, the flicker of murderous intent arose, yet his face bore a smile. It turned out to be Senior Li, though he was uncertain of her intentions. His smile appeared gentle and amicable, but a trace of vigilance in his eyes was difficult to conceal. Li Xiaoxiao remained oblivious to Su Chao's complex emotions as she stepped forward. "I heard that you were injured rather severely yesterday, and I have been quite worried, so I came to check on you." As she spoke, she produced a delicate little box from behind her and handed it to Su Chao. "This is a healing elixir I specially prepared. Its effects are quite remarkable. I hope it aids in your recovery." Chapter 100, The Ordinary Woman. Lu Wushuang. Chen Feng maintained a serene demeanor, entirely unfazed by Lu Wushuang's attitude. He calmly reiterated, "I have expressed my lack of interest. Even if countless individuals are eager to join, that is their concern and does not pertain to me." Su Chao, standing beside him, nodded resolutely and added, "Our aspirations lie elsewhere. It would be futile for this senior to exert herself." Lu Wushuang furrowed her brow tightly, her eyes reflecting a mix of disbelief and anger. "Then which department do you wish to join?" Su Chao replied nonchalantly, "The alchemy department." Lu Wushuang fixed her gaze intently on the two. "Are you not aware that our alchemy